I might have to look up that file and change our intro so you don't have Mac Jones repping you.
If you do, put him in there looking like Aaron Rodgers in that intro. Yeah.
Man, week 6 already. We got Marco from the future in here. Good afternoon or good morning, everyone, depending on where you're at. And then we got Joe in here. Tanking season.
Yep.
I've got a couple of those. For sure. It's stupid because in a couple of them, I'm winning when I don't want to. I sent out a message to the group in one of my leagues. I've been trying to trade stuff. Like I didn't have the depth, but I have Tyreek Hill. So I have 3 wins. And last week I'm going, does nobody want Tyreek Hill? Do none of you contenders? I'm 3-2. I was trying to lose all my games this year.
Yeah, they wanted to do. I know exactly what league you're talking about too, because they wanted to do a 3-way trade with me, but I had something else go through, and I was like, I'm going to keep my picks at this point because I was interested in Jackson Smith and Jigba, and they were interested in Tyreek Hill, and but yeah, I'm like, I'm just going to stick with the picks at this point because my team is decimated at this point. So
yeah, it's fantasy football's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a feeling we're going to get a lot of these questions today about the Cleveland Browns with PJ Walker starting at quarterback and facing the San Francisco 49ers. So here's the question. If you have a solid alternative to Amari Cooper, are you sitting him this week?
I am, and I have been putting him in my lineups, or putting him in on the bench spot in my lineups with other guys in there. Of course, it depends on that player, but there is a lot of people that are jumping Amari Cooper in my weekly rankings with Deshaun Watson out, and that's mainly because of the opponent, the 49ers. I mean, that defense is the real deal. The 49ers, in my opinion, look like leaps and bounds better than every team in the NFL so far this year. But we've seen that same song and dance before in the past, and it's a different story once we get later in the season and playoff time. But yeah, I'm avoiding Amari Cooper if I'm able to this week. What about you?
I'm avoiding every Brown.
Yeah,
where I can.
I agree.
I don't want to start any Cleveland Browns. It has a lot to do with, Watson being out is big. PJ Walker's a guy that didn't even make the Bears. Got beat out by Nathan Peterman and undrafted Tyler Badgett. So
yeah, I'm starting
49ers.
I'm starting PJ Walker in the Intergalactic League because Deshaun Watson's my quarterback and Jordan Love is my backup, and he's on bye and Deshaun's not playing, so I'm forced.
Give me that wide receiver 6.
I have to start a quarterback though. I have to start one.
Oh, you only have one.
Yeah,
oh,
he's my only
rough,
one because the one's on bye, and then Deshaun Watson's my other.
Rough.
Yep.
So yeah, I have a feeling we're gonna be that's gonna be a big thing today is talking about those Browns and people are gonna be asking a lot about them. And then he asked, do you think Sam Laporta plays? These questions I cannot give an answer to. I don't know until those reports come out of who is out and who is not, but I would anticipate. I think he was just questionable, right? He wasn't doubtful.
Yeah, according to Adam Schefter an hour ago, that he is officially questionable with that calf injury. Expected to work out pregame to finalize whether he can play, but it's trending in the right direction per a source. So that's pretty promising news because if he's in, you got to put him in your lineup.
Yeah, that's where I would be. Hopefully he plays. That kid's good. And I like the way they use him. Rookies don't get used that much. Okay, so somebody over on Facebook wants to know, do you start Zach Ertz or Tyler Boyd this week?
It looks like T. Higgins is probably playing today, which definitely bumps Boyd down for me. Hollywood Brown is expected to play as well with a illness. With that being said, Ertz has been pretty consistent this year when it comes to his targets, where Boyd has not. And we expected Boyd to be utilized a lot more last week with Higgins out. So I'm going to go with Zach Ertz here.
Yeah, I still think Boyd is the upside play here if you really need upside. Just because of that Bengals offense, and it looks like it's finally back to at least close to normal. Last week was the week that we really wanted to see out of Joe Burrow, and obviously, I thought Chase was going to have a big week. I didn't know it was going to be that big. Hell of a week for him. But I'm going to go with Ertz here as well if you just don't want the zero or the dud. I mean, I think he's probably good for 8 to 9 points with the targets that he gets. But I would go with Boyd if you need that home run swing. Boyd in that Bengals offense could still get 2 touchdowns on any given week. I don't know that we're going to see that out of Ertz. So that's be where I would sit on those two. Marco says, need some advice. What should I do with Keaton Mitchell? Drop him for Sean Tucker and just drop him in redraft league? I doubt I should drop Lockett, Godwin, or Samuel for him. So need some advice with Keaton Mitchell. Drop him for Sean Tucker. I think if you've had Keaton Mitchell, you got to wait now, right? He finally got activated to the active roster for the Ravens. Feels like if you waited for him to get activated, you'd want to hold on to him, right? And is there something up with Rashad White that I don't know about?
No, I think it's just maybe which backup do you want to keep. And I think at this point, I would rather keep Keaton Mitchell. None of these Ravens running backs have really looked that impressive. With J.K. Dobbins out, and I think Rashad White has looked pretty good in his games this year. That run game isn't strong, but he's pretty good in the pass game. I think he looks pretty fast and explosive. So it doesn't seem like he's going to lose any touches to Sean Tucker, where Keaton Mitchell's opportunities could definitely be there. So I would not drop any of those other guys. And I think he is droppable in a redraft league, but in any sort of dynasty format, I'm keeping him over Sean Tucker personally.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I do think Sean Tucker eats more into Rashad White's work, but Baltimore just can't keep running backs healthy. So, I mean, I guess that's a knock on Keaton in a way, but he's probably going to get some opportunities as these running backs continue to disappoint or get injured like they normally do for Baltimore. I just feel like if you waited for him to get activated, now's the time that you want to hold him and see what he can do if he does get into a game.
Yeah.
Where he could get a ton of work. And Sean Tucker is probably going to be, 40% at most. Rob says, what's up, guys? T-Law or Stafford? Let me pull up my QB rankings.
Yeah, I feel like this is a matchup question, too, for me. Let me see how. It's probably going to be Stafford.
I have Trevor Lawrence 12th and Stafford 13th, so I would be slightly ahead on Trevor Lawrence, but I wouldn't be I wouldn't really argue against going with Stafford here.
Yeah, I'll just go Stafford. I thought, the first half of last week was really, really nice having both of his weapons, and just they couldn't get anything rolling the second half. So I'm expecting with another week under their belt in practice and stuff like that, Stafford could be a very, very valuable quarterback moving forward here.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue too hard against that. So next question is for Rob as well. He says Nico or Ridley. So we have Tank Dell out, right? Concussion. So he's going to be missing. Robert Woods was questionable with calf or hamstring or something. Maybe groin. I don't remember. But so I have Nico at probably not high enough. But I think I have him ahead of. Geez, man. Rob, you're asking good questions here. Check this out. I have Ridley at 40 and Nico at 41. So both of your questions so far, I've had the guys back to back. I probably lean Nico here a little bit, even though my rankings, now that we know that Tank's probably going to, looks like Tank's out I like Nico and Dalton Schultz a lot this week with all those targets opening up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Ridley here, and it's really matchup based for me. Nico draws Lattimore, where Ridley draws any of the DBs from Indianapolis. So I like the matchup significantly more for Calvin Ridley, and because these guys for me they're really ranked really close, same tier this season so far, and I'll just go to the softer matchup. I do think though that Ridley might not be the most valuable Jaguar wide receiver to own at this point. It's pretty close between. I mean, he is, but I don't think it's far apart. Like I mean, Christian Kirk is getting more targets, so outside of week 1, of course. So
Marco from the future says Breece Hall or Zay Flowers in my flex.
And I think the answer from here on out has got to be Breece Hall, right? I mean, he's got a full workload, dude. I feel like matchup does not matter. This dude finds a way to break off a gigantic run every single week. Yeah, give me Breece Hall easily.
That is my call as well. I just think Breece Hall, if he's back and getting all the work, he's a potential top 5 running back on every given week. So he's in my starting lineup. Not very many guys I'm playing ahead of him at a running back position, at least. Rob says, start 1 PPR flex spot. Mixon, Ridley, Madison, Nico. Which one you going with out of these 4?
The Bengals don't play some crazy good defense at the run, right? Like the Eagles. I'm going to go with Mixon then. I believe they have a pretty soft matchup today, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to go with Joe Mixon.
I have
Seattle defense.
Mixon 29th overall. Yeah, so it's going to be Mixon for me as well. That's a good problem to have there.
Yeah.
Marco says, I got him in 2 leagues. That must be Keaton. And then he says, Stafford or Dak?
This was Stafford for me.
Stafford for me as well. I know I got Dak down there pretty far on my rankings. I don't even have to look at that one. Okay, so Tucker or
Fairbear? Fairbear. That it's a kicker. Fairbear.
Oh, Fair. Yeah, gotcha. I wasn't even thinking. Tucker.
Yeah.
Pretty sure Tucker's going to be there for me. And then Gabe Davis or Michael Pittman.
Yeah, I'm going to go Tucker just because he can kick a field goal that is equivalent to touchdown points pretty consistently. And then it's Michael Pittman Jr. for me.
Yep, same for me. Pittman with that's what I said before the season. I felt like he was pretty insulated. If Anthony Richardson would miss time, you got Minshew Mania there who can at least get him the rock, right? Even if he's not good, he can at least get him the rock. So
again, I think Minshew's like one of those guys that he's just like a good backup, like a very good backup to have, just not made to be a starter.
So I'm still fully on Pittman as a top, 16 to 18 wide receiver week to week. Maybe even bumped up a little bit more with some of the injuries we've got. Full PPR, Hollywood or Addison. Hollywood is sick, and there is some wind in Chicago for Addison.
The Windy City's got wind. This is Addison for me. This game could be a high-scoring, fun game to watch. It's probably I look forward to watching this game more than I look forward to watching the Patriots play. So I'm going to go with Jordan. Yeah, I know it's not saying much, but I'm going to go with Jordan Addison. I mean, his target should skyrocket up with no Justin Jefferson in that lineup. And touchdown upside's higher.
Yeah, this one's tough because this also isn't the secondary the Bears have put out there for the entire season because they just literally got everybody back this week. It's like an infusion of secondary talent for Chicago. And Jalen Johnson being back is big for Addison, the rookie. So, Man, these guys are close. Let me see here. Wait, why don't that can't be right? Oh, because I'm looking at kickers. I think I'm gonna lean Hollywood a little bit here. I'm double checking, see what my thoughts were here. But I just think Hollywood's safer play here. I actually like KJ Osborne more. Let's see, Addison.
I like KJ Osborne this week as well.
Brown. Marquise Brown. Yeah, I have Marquise ahead. I'm going Marquise here. Here we go. Burrow or Stafford?
I think this is close. But I'm gonna go with Joe Burrow.
Yep, I have Burrow at 11 and Stafford at 13, so I'm going with Burrow as well. Half PPR, Jerome Ford or Donta Foreman?
I think we're easily going down to Foreman here.
I'm going Foreman.
Avoiding all Browns against the San Fran defense.
Yeah, if I have an option that can fill a spot for a Cleveland Brown player, I'm going to go that route. So this is easily Foreman for me. The Bears, literally all three of their top running backs are out. So his competition is a newly signed off a practice squad, Darrington Evans. I think Foreman's going to get a ton of work this week, and then next week he'll be back to a guy that you don't want to start when Roschon Johnson returns from his concussion. But it's Foreman by quite a bit here for me. Would you stick with Ayuk or play Downs, London, or Pierce? Looking at matchup, full PPR. Oh, I got to click it. I clicked it. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, this is easily Ayuk for me.
Yeah, me too. Ayuk is a must-start wide receiver for me every week, unless something would happen to Purdy. Pollardson. I just mixed the first two names. Pollard, Stevenson, or Spears. We got to sit one of these.
I'm sitting Tyjae Spears. I'm sitting the backup running back.
Same here for me. Here we go. More Foreman. We got Damian Pierce or Foreman in full PPR. Which one are you going to start? Which one are you sitting?
I'm starting Deonta Foreman.
Really?
I don't really like Damian Pierce. Let me see. What has he done this year? I feel like he's just been quiet.
He hasn't had the big fantasy outburst, but he hasn't had any touchdowns yet. And that's what
he got 6, 5, 14, 11, and 9. This week's matchup is against the Saints. That's a tough defense to get any traction against. He's not really utilized a ton in the pass game. Yeah, I'm going Deonta Foreman here. I'll be right back. I'll be real quick.
Okay. Yeah. I think I'm still on Pierce here. This is a tough one though. Yeah, I'm going Pierce for me. Tyler says Groupie or Tucker kickers. I know I have Tucker ahead of Groupie. If I've got Tucker, I'm starting Tucker basically every week at kicker. There's only a handful of guys. The only guys that I have ahead of Tucker this week are Bass, Elliott, Butker, Aubrey. Wait, no. Bass, Elliott, Butker. Those are the only three that I have ahead of Tucker. So I've got Groupie way down at 19, 21. He's 21 in my rankings. He's 19 overall in our kicker rankings. So that's where I'm at with the kickers. Anything there from you?
No, I'm only in one league with kickers, and I start the same dude every week until his bye week. So your rankings are probably more in depth than mine. So I'll default to whatever you say on that one.
All right, we're gonna just drop down, skip a couple messages, and remind everybody to drop a like. Thank you, Rob. We appreciate you. Marco wants to know Fields or Lamar.
I'm going Fields here. This is like a la last year. He's on this little tear. Lamar does play against the Titans, whose biggest strength is their run defense. So I don't know how that translates to containing a QB as well. But I feel like on those designed Lamar runs, he's not going to find as many pathways to take some decent runs. That they're just stout against that part of the game. So I'll go with Fields and what I think will be a really high scoring game with Minnesota today.
Yeah, I'll just say that for me, like with either of these guys, I don't really care what the defense ranks against the run. These guys are just different. But I do have Fields one spot ahead. I have Fields as my QB5 and Lamar Jackson as my QB6 this week. So I am slightly Fields, but I wouldn't argue either way. But these guys break contain. It doesn't matter who the run defense is, in my opinion. But we do have a little bit of news. Tank Dell is not expected to play versus the Saints. Wide receiver Robert Woods is expected to play versus the Saints. So if you need a little bit of flex action, Robert Woods is probably flexible today with Tank Dell being out and as much as they throw. Start Ravens Day versus Titans or Cowboy Day versus the Chargers. I'm assuming this is DST and it got converted today. So DST. Man, Cowboys are either like really, really good or really, really bad, huh?
Yeah, I'm not. I would not feel comfortable with man. It's like the Titans O line is horrible. So there could be a lot of sacks today for the Ravens. I'm going to go with the Ravens. I think they could easily get you some points for not allowing many yards and points, along with getting a decent amount of sacks today. Where I really just see the Cowboys, their only way of getting you points is maybe a couple of turnovers, if that. And I know that's where most of the points are scored. There are those picks that become pick sixes. But this Chargers team is going to be tougher to get that against with Herbert and Keenan Allen being significantly better than most wide receiver and quarterback combos they've played this year. So give me the Ravens.
Yeah. To put it simply, I have Ravens number 4 and Cowboys number 6 on my DST ranking. So I would be Ravens ahead there. Joe says non-PPR, pick one wide receiver, one flex. We have Ayuk, Olave, Nico Collins, Hubbard, Ahmed, DeMarcado, starting McCaffrey, Montgomery, and Keenan Allen. So we need one flex, one wide receiver. So which wide receiver are you going to take here?
Ayuk.
I'm going with Ayuk as well. And then are you flexing Olave?
I am flexing Olave.
That is what I'm doing as well. So Ayuk and Olave, Joe, that's what we would go with. You have some good options here. Obviously, Hubbard looks like he's going to be starting at running back, and DeMarcado as well.
DeMarcado is listed as the number 2 on the depth chart, though. So
is Ingram back? Is it to Ingram?
Keontae Ingram was listed as number 1. So yeah, I'm avoiding DeMarcado like the plague this week. I think he's a trap play. Keontae Ingram could be a sneaky little play, but again, I'm not trying to play either of those guys.
I'll fire up DeMarcado. He looked way better than Keontae Ingram has ever looked in his life last week. Keontae Ingram may become like my next Madison. I'm not a fan of the talent at all. Barkley may not play. Go with Henry. Also have James Cook and Mostert. So Mostert's the one I'm starting out of all these guys.
Yeah, he's my number 1 out of this group with the question marks around Barkley.
Yeah. I mean, Barkley's my number 1.
Of course, yeah. But with these are your options. I just didn't know I don't know how the question is labeled. Does that mean he has James Cook and Mostert already in, and then he's debating at the flex spot with Barkley or Henry? Because if out of all these guys, James Cook would be last for me.
Out of all these guys, Henry would be last for me. I would start Mostert, Cook, then Henry. Henry is a big question mark right now. He's getting out snapped. Last week got outproduced by Spears. Talk about traps. Like he's becoming like hard to start. You're not even confident putting him in there because you don't know what you're getting week to week. We're not used to that with Derrick Henry, right? Like we're used to just Derrick Henry every week getting a bunch of touches. So I would go Mostert, James Cook, Henry, then Barkley. With these options, I'm sitting Barkley just because we don't know and we don't know how much work he's going to get. So that's where I would be at running back here with those options. Start 2, flex 1. Barkley, Henry, Cook, Mostert, Lockett. So I would be Mostert, Cook, Lockett here in this scenario.
I would go Henry, Cook, Mostert.
Thoughts on Keontae Ingram? Would you play him over Amari Cooper?
I think he's technically going to be the lead back just based on their depth chart. Because I don't really have any insider information on that. But I'm with all the uncertainty. This is like one of the few times I'm going to play Amari Cooper over whoever else is in the question with him.
Dude, I don't know. This is tough.
It sucks, but he's got to throw the ball to somebody, and I guess that somebody's got to be Amari Cooper. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to play either of these guys, but if I had to pick one, I'm going to boo Amari Cooper.
Is PJ Walker going to throw for? Well, I'm going to set the line at 100 passing yards, over under.
I'll say he goes over 100 passing yards. The line for me would be like 140. That's where I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We've seen a lot of sub 100 yard passing games this year, and I feel like this is another one. I'm gonna go Keontae Ingram here. I think I just don't trust that Browns offense with PJ Walker behind it. Marco back with some more DST questions. Dolphins or 49? I have the 49ers number 1 this week, so nobody over them.
Got to be the Niners.
Evans, Lockett, Nico, or Wilson for wide receiver 2 in PPR. It's Mike Evans for me.
Yeah, it's Mike Evans for me as well. Geez, there's a lot of good options.
Yeah, that's a pretty good wide receiver core you got there. Who to pick up with Connor Hurt? DeMercado or Keontae Ingram? I'm on the Amari DeMercado side, and I think Bryce is going to be on the Ingram side.
And that's just that again. I didn't watch him last week, so I have no clue. And he could have definitely looked better. But Keontae Ingram was listed as the number 1 running back on the depth chart with James Conner hurt. So I default to that when it comes to these backups until Connor comes back. So
I just think DeMercado looks better and will win out that spot. And who knows how long Connor's going to be out. So I'll just go with the guy I think he's got more upside with DeMercado. Zach Moss or Zay Flowers?
We had to eat crow last week. Zach Moss looked good. I mean, there's no way around it. Like, it's not like he looked good. He would look decisive. He had good vision. But with that being said, I mean, Jonathan Taylor could do that and more with the amount of touches that he got. I didn't expect him to be that limited. That's going to change every week. So give me Zay Flowers. I just one of these weeks, Zach Moss is going to be a huge disappointment. So I'd rather not put him in that week. So give me Zay Flowers. He has a nice he's been getting a lot of targets. Soft Titans secondary. So hurry up and put him in your lineup before this game starts.
Yeah, I'm going Zay Flowers as well. Not a whole lot to add, but this is despite the outburst last week that made it look like Zach Moss got the $14 million a year contract.
Yeah.
That was in fact Jonathan Taylor. So Tua or Fields?
Dang. What do you have in your rankings?
I have Tua number 4 and Fields 5.
Fields hasn't. The thing is, like, Fields hasn't been running the ball nearly as much as I thought he would be this year. But it's like that's gonna change one of these games, and it could be this one. Give me Justin Fields. This is close though. You can't fault either way.
I mean, I'm not gonna argue. You know, I have them back to back, so same tier. So you know, it's like mine's like a half, right? Like half Tua, half Fields. Because if I did have them in multiple spots, I would probably go Fields in half of my leagues and Tua in half, if that makes sense. If I had that choice, so basically 1.5 Fields, I guess. But I do have Tua just one spot ahead, 4 and 5, but real close. Do we have any more questions for? Oh, I guess that game started, huh? So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think it's probably lineups locked.
And a half PPR for the flex spot. Do you pick up Foreman and drop Jameson Williams, or stick with Flowers?
I'm going to start Foreman over both of these guys, and I think you could drop Jameson Williams. And I'm assuming this is obviously a redraft question. I would, man, yeah, I would drop Jameson Williams. I think it's a guy you could pick up the next week or the week after that. So, yep, I'd start Foreman this week.
I would just start Flowers. Foreman is going to go back to being the backup next week. I mean, he would have been the backup this week if Roshan would have got cleared from that concussion. So I feel like Jameson's got more upside the rest of the year. I don't want to drop him for a guy that I'm going to start 1 week when the difference between that guy and Flowers is pretty small. So I'm going to just stick with Flowers here, leave Foreman on the waivers, and keep Jameson for the upside. Unless you think Foreman's going to, still be a big part of the run offense when Roshan Johnson is back next week. That's where I would be on it. Would y'all start Foreman over Brian Robinson Jr. this week? I'm feeling it. Full PPR. Happy Sunday. So Joshua wants to know, are we going Foreman or Brian Robinson Jr.?
I'm probably going Brian Robinson Jr. Do you have who the Commanders play this week?
I just looked at it and then
forget. Yeah, I did too. I do that
I
all the time.
I closed my tab for my
Atlanta.
Yeah.
I don't know how good they are against the run this year. I'll go Brian Robinson Jr.
I'll go Foreman. It's a tough one.
It's close for me too. I think you can. Yeah. But there's just more certainty with Brian Robinson Jr.'s usage. But I mean, we feel pretty confident of Foreman's usage this week. But again, there's nothing set in stone with that one, where it's more set in stone with Robinson Jr.
See, I don't know. I feel like Foreman's safer. Like last week when the Bears and Commanders played, thought Brian Robinson was going to get a ton of work, and then they barely used him.
Fair enough.
Who do I sit? Saquon, Demont, Walker, Kyron Williams. Which one of these 4 running backs are you going to sit? I think we're both going to be just saying sit Saquon with these options, right?
Yeah, with these options, you can feel okay sitting Saquon. Even if he's not playing, then you're screwed. And if he is playing, then you have to hope that he's not on some sort of snap count. They do play the Bills. That game could get ugly quick. And they're like, well, let's just let Saquon rest a little bit more. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to put in these other 3 options and feel pretty comfortable with it.
Yep, that's where I'm at as well. Wild Card Loft says, thanks, guys. No problem at all. We are going through these still in order, so we will answer them in order. You don't have to ask questions once, and we will get to it, I promise. Just takes a little bit of time. So we're going to start 2 in PPR for Andrew here. Olave, James Cook, Ayuk. Which 2 are we starting?
Wow.
Right? I wish I had these options.
Yeah. Geesh. I don't even know who I want as number 1. Probably Ayuk. Probably starting Ayuk. Then it comes to James Cook and Olave. Olave's playing against Houston, been decent against the pass this year, and James Cook is playing against the Giants, who have been, I'm pretty sure, terrible against the run this year. So I think I'm just going to go with James Cook and Ayuk. That's sickening.
I'm looking here. Oh, big play to Aguilar, huh? I just put Aguilar in one of my lineups before we got go. Yeah, I'm going with Olave and Ayuk here. I just think there's more upside. That's where I'm going. Josh Montgomery says, "Hey fellas, 1 point super flex, 5-point passing touchdown. T-Law play Garner. Oh, Minshew over Goff. Need 2. I think we're both gonna go with Goff and T-Law, right?
Yeah, I'm going Goff and T-Law here.
And then need 2 out of London, Osborne, and Hubbard. Which one are you going to sit out of Osborne, London, and Hubbard?
I think I'm going to sit KJ Osborne.
Man, I don't want to sit him at all.
I don't either, but I'm going to go with Drake London being the best wide receiver on his team. And then Hubbard should be getting all the work, I imagine.
Let's see. So they play the Dolphins. He's probably going to get a bunch of PPR work in that, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess I go with London. I feel like we're going to regret sitting Osborne here against the Bears, but it's the right play. Start 2, Marquise Brown, Zay Flowers, Christian Kirk. Which 2 are you taking out of these 3?
I'd be taking Christian Kirk and Marquise Brown.
That's where I'm at as well. Let's go. School of Crop says Jonathan Taylor, ball or bust.
I'm not worried about Jonathan Taylor. I think he'll be just fine once he gets back into his normal workload.
And
there he goes.
I'm going. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much work he's going to get. That's just I don't know. He's like right in the middle for me. I don't think he's gonna. I think he's gonna be better than last week. I think he's gonna get more touches than last week. Obviously, he's got a little bit more run under his legs. Great cup, by the way. Gremlins, awesome. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, Spirit Halloween got some awesome mugs.
I'm gonna say that I don't want to say that he's gonna ball. I don't know that he's gonna ball. I don't know that he's there yet. They're gonna still give Moss some touches because Moss is. I don't know. They should probably check him for PEDs or something because it doesn't make sense. But I think he's going to be startable, playable. I don't know that he's going to ball out, but I don't think he's going to bust either. Is that a cop-out?
No, I think that's probably about right, honestly. He might only get like 8 to 12 touches today and might put you up average, you know what I mean, like maybe 10 points. And you're like, okay, well, it's better than last week, but, it's not Jonathan Taylor yet.
So what are you doing here? We got Jordan Addison or Chris Olave. Which one are you going with here?
Well, you got me a little scared now on Jordan Addison with the Jalen Johnson news. So I will go, and I don't think it would matter. I'm still going to go Chris Olave.
I mean, I think Addison's going to be fine. I just don't know if he's going to get the blow-up day with Jalen Johnson back. Jalen Johnson's pretty good.
I agree.
But, I mean, I'd be going Chris Olave here no matter what. So here's a question. Was that you? Did you make that trade? Somebody traded Chris Olave for Puka.
That was the guy I brought in. That I brought in to replace the guy who passed away. That was Castle. I don't know. I mean, it's like I thought production would go down with Cooper Kupp and really didn't. So I mean, I don't know. It seems like it's an uneven trade, but it wouldn't surprise me if Puka just is a guy from here on out. I mean, I don't know. I'd still want Chris Olave though. I mean, that's
I'm not
right.
I'm not trading.
I think he could have got more, but like it wouldn't surprise me if like at the end of this year or even halfway through next year, we're like Puka, or who would you rather have, Puka or Chris Olave? You know, so. But I would have tried to get more for sure.
If we get to that point, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry myself to sleep.
I really just think Puka's got like a really high football IQ.
I think Puka's good, but not Olave good.
Yeah, he doesn't have as much raw talent, but he might have it up here, which can sometimes break that. It's a different. That's like how Julian Edelman was. Like he was way more football savvy than he was an athlete. So
Rob wants to know Logan Thomas or Jake Ferguson at tight end.
Give me Logan Thomas. This dude, when he's healthy and playing, is a top 5 to 8 dynasty tight end. Or I'm sorry, yeah, just not dynasty, but like for the year. So yeah, give me Logan Thomas. What
about you, Sully? Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Oh man, it's early in the West, brothers.
Did you drink? Did you have a lot of drinks last night?
I had a couple, not a lot.
Okay.
Logan Thomas has, I saw the stat, I won't remember it, but an absolutely ridiculous target share in the games that he's played. And the article I was reading made the correlation between Bieniemy and Kansas City's use of the tight end and Washington and their use of the tight end. And, Sam Howell's not Patrick Mahomes and Logan Thomas isn't Travis Kelce, but no one's told them that yet. So Logan Thomas by a mile here for me.
Yeah. If you've watched this show or any of our shows for the last few years, you'll know how I feel about Logan Thomas when he's starting. He has been nothing but productive. Yeah. It's been getting on the field that has been the issue since 2020 when he finished as the tight end 3. He's just been missing a bunch of time. He's been productive other than that. I'll put him in there. Football de Noche says, hey, guys, if you had to play 2 players, which player would you play this week? Olave or Devonta Smith? Also, adding Jackson Smith and Jigba worth it. I'm 5-0. If you had to play 2. So where are we going, Olave or Devonta Smith? Sully, why don't you start us off on this one?
I'll go with Olave. I do think Devonta Smith is going to bounce back. He struggled a little bit the last few weeks, but apparently Carr's healthier, and Olave has avoided any problems with his little setback last week as well. So I'll go Olave. And just on the Jackson Smith and Jigba piece for me, I'm always interested in seeing rookies after their bye week. So if you have a spot on your roster, I'm assuming you're not dropping much of anything to pick him up, and I would absolutely do that. Bryce?
Yeah, just depends who you're dropping for Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'm more comfortable keeping him on the bench in case somebody gets injured or he just gets more work, and then it's Olave for me as well. Rick?
Same on all of it. I want Jackson Smith and Jigba on my team for the second half of the season. I think he continues to get used more and progresses into a fantasy starter. So I definitely want to pick him up, but again, it depends on who you're dropping. And then, I'll start Olave over Smith as well. Nick says half PPR, start 3. We got Lamb, Ridley, AJ Brown, or Puka. I've been getting a lot of mixed opinions. So he's got to start 3 out of these 4. Which one are you sitting, Bryce? Which one of these guys are you sitting?
Kind of crazy to think, but it's easy for me, and I'm sitting Calvin Ridley out of these 4. Sully?
It's not as easy for me, but that is where I would go as well. And again, week after week, everybody has a better fantasy team than this guy. So I'll sit Ridley. Go ahead, Rick.
No, I want to know. You say it's not that easy. Which guy is it? Which other one are you thinking about sitting? If it's not easy for you here,
it's probably CeeDee Lamb. As dumb as that sounds.
That's what I was wondering if I was crazy, because that's the same. I'm down to Ridley and Lamb and trying to decide which one I would sit. So I was wondering if I was crazy thinking about sitting Lamb here. But we've got Puka, who's wide receiver 5. We've got, this isn't even PPR, so let me change that here. We got Puka, who's number 3. We got A.J. Brown, number 8, and then Calvin Ridley's 23. So he's ahead of Lamb 16. So they're 0.5 points apart from each other. And Dak Prescott is doo-doo sauce. I am going to sit Ridley, but it is close between him and Lamb for me. I think AJ and Puka are easily in there, and that's so weird that this is the conversation we're having in week 6.
I think that Cowboys-Chargers game could be off the charts in terms of a track meet, so I think Lamb has to be involved in that. There has been stories, though, that Jerry Jones wants him to move the ball around and target other people. So I don't know if Jerry's finally lost it or what, but we'll see what happens in Dallas.
I mean, he's apparently
that's just
he's
it,
not
right?
happy about Brandon Cooks and Michael Gallup not getting enough targets, or what?
Right. I guess he realized he pays those guys too, so he wants to get something out of it. I don't know.
So football also wants to know: do I start Ty J. Spears? Are we to the point where Spears can?
This
be
window
flexed?
is closed.
Yeah,
this window is closed. That game's kicked off.
He asked it too late as well. I mean, it all just depended on, and then, this is all dependent on who are you starting over. What are your other options? So
yeah, I like him though. If they're losing, he's the guy.
In a vacuum, I wouldn't have been starting Spears.
It's game script dependent, right? In the Titans wins, Henry is grossly outtouched Spears, but in the losses, it's the other way around. So he's legit. Like, he needs to be on rosters, and I wish I had some more shares. But like Bryce said, it really depends who we're comparing him to here.
Another one, half PPR, Rachaad White or Jonathan Taylor? Sully.
I had a buddy ask me this last night, and to me, it's still Jonathan Taylor. Gardner Minshew, in his rookie season, targeted Leonard Fournette 109 times, and Minshew will check down, and it will be to Jonathan Taylor. And I know that he didn't have the game that we wanted him to have last week, and he'll probably be split again with us this week. But Detroit's defense is legit. Rachaad White is really very good from what I can see, so I'm going to take the best back by a mile here. Bryce?
Yeah, I'm going to jump on that that same boat there. It's Jonathan Taylor. To me, just got to hope he gets more volume this week. He's going to get more volume. And Rachaad White does play against the Detroit defense, who's been pretty good against running backs so far this year.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm on board. JT, everything you guys said. Don't need to really add much to it. Jonathan Tilley says start one. Kickers. We got Carlson, Gay, and Sly. Which one are you going with there, Sully? I'm looking at mine right now.
I'm just about to pull mine. And I'll be honest, not that my kicker rankings mean a whole hell of a lot. I really don't know what I'm doing on a week-to-week basis. Slide 22.
I have Carlson at kicker 15.
That's Carlson for me. He's my 12th ranked kicker this week.
I have him at 15, so but he's my highest. Yep.
I'll default to what you guys say because I don't rank the kickers.
Rico says Ford or JT.
I do.
JT. Sully, you. I don't know if we're like
here. No, it's hamster time. It's warming up still. I'm lagging. I apologize.
I was gonna say it's like all jumbled right now at the moment. So Sully, Bryce and I had talked earlier. We're basically trying to sit every Browns player. Is that where you're at this week?
Yeah, I caught a little bit of that as I was getting ready to get in here, and I'm with you guys 100%. Number one, I'm starting JT over Jerome Ford pretty much 100 weeks out of 100, and Browns are in real tough with PJ Walker against the Niners, so JT by a larger margin than JT over Rachaad White for me.
Yeah. Yep. Speaks for itself.
Yep. I agree. Caleb says, I have some pretty good flex options to work with here. Should I start Jerome Ford, Zach Moss, or Dameon Pierce? Scared to start Jerome against San Fran and Dameon Pierce due to his poor production. Are you going to start Zach Moss over Dameon Pierce, Bryce?
No. I think I'm going to start I think I'll start Dameon Pierce this week over Zach Moss. Again, I just don't want to. I don't want to have Zach Moss in my lineup the week that Jonathan Taylor really starts getting way more work. It could be this week. So give me Dameon Pierce. Sully.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that Moss will definitely have a share of that offense, but I want the guy that's going to get the majority of the work versus the guy who's going to share it. And Dameon Pierce just needs to score. He's been fine the last few weeks.
Yep, that's where I'm at. He just hasn't got into the end zone. And once he does, he's going to have some pretty good weeks. So I'm going to go with Pierce here as well. Rob wants to know, at quarterback, are we going with T-Law or Cousins? Sully, are you going with your boy, Kirk, or you going with Trevor?
I think you got to temper expectations for Minnesota a little bit with Jefferson out. I think they'll still throw, but not nearly as much. The run game will be a little bit more prevalent. Regardless, I have T-Law ranked higher, so I'll go with Lawrence here. Bryce?
Yeah, I agree. Cam Akers should be getting a way bigger role here soon. I will also go. I'm going to go Cousins here as well. I expect this game today to be pretty high scoring. It's my fun game of the week to watch. So I want all parts of it if I can get them. So give me Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
you need something new to watch anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, he does.
Did you see the Red Sox have outscored the Patriots offense so far this month, and they've only played one game? A baseball team.
That's pretty good.
That's
pretty good. Bad. And the Red Sox stink.
I don't even watch the Patriots anymore. I just have them on, and I just look at it with just pure disgust.
I'm going Kirk Cousins here as well. I have him as my QB 8 on the week, and I have Trevor Lawrence as my QB 12. So I'm with you, Bryce. I'm going Cousins as well. Parker wants to know, are we going with Drake London or Sam Laporta?
I'll go Laporta. It's hard to usually go wide receiver over tight end, but when it's like the tight end that's producing,
let's skip ahead. Let's start over because he added to it a couple spots down. London, Laporta, or Stevenson.
This makes it a little tougher.
It's Drake London for me.
I'll go with Stevenson.
I'm going to be on Stevenson as well, I believe.
Okay, you guys got to tell me why.
The Patriots offense can't just be continuously doing this. They're going to make changes. Like if Mac's not, they're going to continue to make changes. They're going to get the running back. I mean, he's got all the PPR value. He's going to get the passes and receptions.
But he hasn't recently. Elliott's been getting as many targets or more than he has.
Let's see. Has he? I mean, I know he's gotten more rushing attempts. And that's
I thought he had 8 targets last week or the week before.
Well, last week we took the starters out in the third quarter, so Elliott got a lot of work in pretty much garbage time, which was almost the whole second half.
Fair. I don't remember you started lighting it up.
Yeah, I mean these past 2 weeks have been rough matchups against Dallas and New Orleans, and then the next 3 matchups are pretty light against the running back. I expect Ramondre to come back in. I mean, his snap percentage was down last week just because of the blowout. But still, he's in there 65% or more of the time. So I'm still going to take Stevenson.
Okay. I actually have Laporta 1 spot ahead of Stevenson in my rankings, 52 and 53 overall. So I was actually wrong. I'm on Laporta here.
So he got one of each.
Yeah. Sorry, Parker.
I love Sam Laporta. I'm just worried he's a little touchdown dependent, but I guess every tight end is. And I think that I just think that Drake London is starting to come, and that offense is starting to come in Atlanta a little bit. So I'm going to go there.
I'm pulling up 1 second here. Wait, what? Why is that not annoying? I wanted to speak to that. I mean, isn't Laporta getting a ton of targets?
I don't think he's getting as many as he was early in the season.
I don't think he had that many targets last week. I think he just
last week he only
No,
had 4, but I mean that was his worst week yet.
Not really. He's got 4, 5, 6, 5, and 1 and an 11. So
I mean, for a tight end, that's pretty good targets.
Yeah, it's not bad, but
it is.
It's not as much
No
as
doubt
Monday.
about it. But I'll take a team's number 1 wide receiver over a tight end most weeks. Even Atlanta's.
Hey guys, trade DJ Moore for Mike Evans straight up. I have Jay Jettas injured and Watson as my other wide receiver. So here's the question. Do you want DJ Moore rest of the season or Mike Evans rest of the season? Sully.
DJ Moore. Do not make that trade.
Yep, DJ Moore for me as well.
Well, I'm glad you guys went first, so my biases weren't clouding my judgment. I'm DJ Moore by quite a bit here. Boom, boom, boom. DM Fresh says, having troubles on which QB to start, Herbert or Stafford. Thank you guys for all you do. DM Fresh, we appreciate you being here. And I'm pretty sure we're all going to be on Herbert here, right?
I'm going to be on Herbert. Believe it or not, the running back coming back helps the quarterback in this situation because Austin Eckler's a freak out of the backfield. So that's a huge addition, especially after losing Mike Williams for the year.
I like Stafford a lot against Arizona this week with both those wide receivers, but I still have Herbert higher in my rankings because I think that the Chargers have a little bit of a revenge narrative with their offensive coordinator to just ram it down Dallas's throat. So that's what I see happening.
Yeah, I have Herbert at QB7 and Stafford at QB13. All right, rest of season. Rico wants to know Jackson Smith and Jigba or Rashee Rice. Which one would you rather have, Sully?
I will take Rashee Rice, and it basically comes down to quarterback for me.
Yeah, rest of season, it's Rashee Rice. Rest of career, it's Jackson Smith and Jigba. Rashee Rice has gotten the great opportunity of no wide receiver has stepped up. Yeah, no wide receiver has stepped up for the Chiefs, and it seems like when he gets the opportunities or the targets, he capitalizes on them. So I think he could be utilized more and more as the season progresses for Patrick Mahomes. With that being said, I just don't think he's nearly as talented as Jackson Smith and Jigba. So that will eventually Jackson Smith and Jigba will eventually surpass him, but it just might not be the rest of the season. And again, that's just due to quarterback.
I'm gonna go JSN here. I feel like this Chiefs wide receiver group is it's gonna continue to just be spread out. It just sucks when your wide receiver scores a touchdown and it's hard for him to top 12, 13 points, which is where Rashee Rice has been. None of them are getting enough action outside of outside of Travis Kelce. So I'm going to go JSN. I expected him to start slower. He's got DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett on the same team as him. So I expected him to start slow and kind of continue to ease into this Seattle offense as the season progresses. As Sully mentioned, they've got their bye out of the way, and that's a spot where a lot of rookie wide receivers kind of take off from that bye week, get some action under their belt, then get to kind of reevaluate everything in the bye. And I think JSN is going to be a bigger part of that offense going forward here. So I'm going to take JSN over Rice for the rest of the season.
One real quick one on that one to JSN.
Marco says, what's going on with...
Sorry. I know I'm lagging. Just keep going.
No, you're fine. It's just you sound like a robot and the lag's funny. So finish what you're going to say.
I was just going to say that I think Seattle came into the season with the intent of running 3 wide receiver sets more often than not, and then they lost both their tackles right out of the gate, and it forced them back into 2-3 tight end sets, and that had the biggest impact on JSN. So Cross is back this week for Seattle. The other one I don't think is coming back, but I could see them running more 3 wide receiver sets, which to your point is going to benefit JSN.
You might have to reboot that internet there, buddy.
Okay, I'll bounce. I'll be back.
That was very choppy. Marco says, "What's going on with people picking up Gronk? Is he starting another comeback? Question mark."
No, all he said was it'd be fun to play in Miami, I think, is something he said. But I did not foresee Rob Gronkowski coming back to the NFL. Unless Tom Brady was the quarterback for the Dolphins. So I don't know why they're picking him up. They probably just are taking. And then there's all these like fake memes that are coming out saying that Gronk is going to wants to play for the Dolphins when all he said was it'd be fun to play for him just because of how electric their offense is.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised with an offense like that and an opportunity for a bunch of targets. He may. Who knows? But I'm not out there picking him up. So
yeah, I'm not.
You're from the future. Tell us, Marco. Jeez, Chuba or Amari?
Chuba Hubbard.
I'm going Chuba as well. I do not want to play Browns players. I would struggle picking the over on 100 passing yards for PJ Walker, to be completely honest with you. Also, I should have included this. Would you start Kirk or Jordan Addison?
I'm starting Christian Kirk.
Kirk for me as well. It is close, though. What's your thoughts on CJ Watson rest of season? He's a free agent I can grab.
Is this supposed to be Christian?
That's what I'm assuming. Christian Watson.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not on a roster. I would definitely have him on my roster. But I mean, I don't know what to think. I don't think Jordan Love's very good. But I think Christian Watson is a pretty good athlete. Better athlete than he is a wide receiver, if that makes sense. But I like him. I just don't know what I think of any of that Green Bay Packers receiving core rest of the season. They're going to be in situations where they got to throw the ball a lot. So he could have some value for sure, especially some flex value.
Yeah, same way. Sorry, I was looking at seen Aguilar. I had to throw him in a couple lineups this week and seen a couple big plays by him. Yeah, I think Christian. Yeah, he said it. I meant Christian Watson, 10-team PPR, and someone dropped him. Am I froze now?
No, you're not frozen.
Cool. It was timing out over here on my end. Yeah, I want Christian Watson on my rosters. It's gonna be hit or miss. I feel like he's more of a best ball play, but I agree. I don't think those Packers are as good. I think they're gonna be passing a lot more than we may have thought. Marco wants to know, JT, D. Mercado, and James Cook. Start one of those.
We could take DeMercado out of this, obviously. Comes down to James Cook, who is obviously inferior to Jonathan Taylor, but the workload might not be. So I will go with James Cook just for this week. I think Jonathan Taylor next week is really going to be the week that we see him really take over as the lead back. I'm just not confident he gets over 10 touches today, where I'm very confident that James Cook does.
Yeah, I do think JT is going to be back into the 12-15 touch range, but James Cook also has a juicy matchup against the Giants.
Yeah.
So, I expect the Bills to be up big and running the ball quite a bit throughout this whole game. So I'm going to go James Cook as well. But I do think JT starts getting into the mid-double-digit touches here pretty quickly. Jake Moody, carry me. Yeah.
Is he a kicker?
Yeah. Yep. I have him as my number 5. Moss or JT?
He also adds in the next question Hubbard as well.
I probably go with Hubbard out of these three. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm more confident in Hubbard's usage today than the former. So I'll take Chuba Hubbard today, especially potentially getting a lot of work in the pass game.
Sully, We got Zach Moss, JT, or Chuba Hubbard. Which of the three are you going with?
Between Moss and Hubbard, sorry, it's between GT and Hubbard for me. I was agreeing with Bryce until I saw the question. I'm sticking with Jonathan Taylor here.
I think I'm going to go Hubbard and give it 1 week here. Obviously, we ate a lot of crow last week with Moss just going ballistic in that game. But I do agree. Carolina probably trailing, probably tons of dump offs for Hubbard in this game, getting the far majority of the work in that Carolina backfield. I'll go with Hubbard for a week. I hate it, but Derrick wants to start one. What?
So I was going to say Justin Tucker already has 7 fantasy points for you kicker users.
That's awesome.
There you go. Start 1, wide receiver 1 flex in the PPR. We have Ayuk, Garrett Wilson, James Cook, and Christian Kirk. I'm going to start this one off. I'm starting Ayuk at wide receiver, and I'm probably going to be starting James Cook in the flex here. So I'm going Ayuk and Cook.
I am also going Ayuk and Cook.
I'm going Ayuk. I'm a little bit concerned about the Browns defense, but it should be on the field all day today. And Christian Kirk.
Joe wants to know, in a non-PPR, we need to pick one flex out of Moss, Addison, Kirk, Olave, starting Puka, Keenan Allen, Kamara, and Hall. So, Bryce, which one of these guys are you going to flex?
I'm going to flex Chris Olave out of these 4.
Me too.
100%. Nice team, by the way.
Yeah, very, very nice team, Joe. We're all going with Chris Olave here in the flex. I have Ferguson starting this week, but he's on bye next week. Should I drop DeMercado, who is on my bench also, for Kyle Pitts? If he has another good performance, I can play him next week. I'm not dropping DeMercado for Kyle Pitts. Personally, I think DeMercado is going to be the running back that gets the most action with James Conner out. I just think that's more valuable. But if you have somebody else that you can drop for Kyle Pitts, then I would be on board. I would drop Ferguson for Kyle Pitts, honestly.
Exactly what I was going to say. It's exactly what I was going to say. If I had to drop one of the two, it's not DeMercado, it's Ferguson. I think DeMercado is diamond in the rough here. I think he's going to be a nice find for Arizona.
Sam Laporta is expected to play, just
good
to the message I just got. Bryce.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather have Jake Ferguson than Kyle Pitts, honestly. He's been getting more consistent when it comes to targets and production in a redraft format. But I think you can hold on to DeMercado being potentially a minimum of a guy that you could start here the next 3 to 4 weeks, where the difference between Kyle Pitts and Ferguson is not that great. So I would also drop Ferguson for Kyle Pitts.
I don't know, man. I mean, again,
Kyle Pitts is getting healthier, and we saw what happened last week. I think that's this. I know I talked about Drake London choppily earlier, but I do believe that Atlanta offense is slowly starting to morph into a fantasy viable offense. So Kyle Pitts is a stud, and we know how talented he is. We just got to get him the ball, and they're starting to get him the ball. I like Ferguson, though. Don't get me wrong. They're both top 10 to 12 tight ends for sure.
Dak just always uses the tight end. It doesn't matter if they're that good or not. If Kyle Pitts was on Dallas, he would be a huge, he'd be a top.
I don't know if Dak's much better than Desmond Ridder right now. And I know that.
Yeah, it's just the way he utilizes the tight end. Jake Ferguson, I think he'd be the backup to Jonnu Smith if he was on the Falcons.
I think Kyle Pitts has been for most of the season.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, he got.
Like,
I agree with what you're saying, though, Bryce.
Kyle Pitts has more targets than Jonnu Smith on the season.
He does.
He's
okay,
obviously
after last week, but up until last week, it was Jonnu Smith in a one less game.
One
That's
of them
the other
had
thing.
one more target than the other entering last week. So
Right, but Jonnu Smith didn't play in week 1, so he
Right.
was down a week, and the targets were still there over the other games. So, I mean, I agree. But Kyle Pitts has been getting targeted outside. He had 3 in week 1. He's had 4 more every other week, 9 in 1 week, 11 in another. But I just feel it's tough because Ritter blows. But
getting better.
Kyle Pitts is just way more talented than Ferguson. And Ferguson I like, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Atlanta if Kyle Pitts is one of their target trades to improve that offense even more at the deadline, because there's lots of rumors around.
I don't see that, but I agree.
There's lots of rumors around Atlanta and whether he fits in that. You can't argue with what Jonnu's done. Who would have thought the resurrection of Jonnu would come in Atlanta, where we beg for Kyle Pitts fantasy production?
I've read a ton that his knee still isn't great, and he's getting healthier, and we're starting to see it. So I think the back half of the season, he becomes more of what we've expected him to be.
Yo, guys, happy football day. Thanks for the advice last week. Here's one for this week. For the flex, no PPR, but bonuses at 109 and 200.
I bet
I'm
it's
assuming
Guessing
that's
it's rushing and receiving.
Yeah. Or it could be for both.
Okay.
That's definitely
Good.
supposed to be 100. Like he probably just hit 9 on accident.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
But we got Ford, Wilson, Scary Terry, Waller, or DeMercado.
How many do we need?
So
We're picking one?
One, I'm assuming. Let's see here. Scary Terry.
I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson with Slay and Carter out for the Eagles. I think it'll be a little bit of an easier day. And I know it's still Zach Wilson, but it's also still Garrett Wilson. So I'll go Wilson.
I'm also going to go with Garrett Wilson. The Eagles secondary has not been good this year. So
and Slay's out and Carter's out as well. So their defense is even less potent. I agree.
I'm going to go Scary Terry. I don't trust Zach Wilson. Whether Philly's secondary has been good or not, their pass rush is good, and that's where Zach Wilson just melts and falls apart. I can't trust. I just can't trust them against that front. And that front is still good, and Jalen Carter's out, and he's obviously been a monster. So I'm going to go with Scary Terry.
Isn't Curtis Samuel playing the Jonnu Smith role in Washington and McLaurin playing the Pitts role? Like, he's falling second fiddle to Curtis Samuel for some unknown reason, and Jahan Dotson too.
They're all falling second fiddle to Logan Thomas while he's on the field. And then
but wide receiver wise.
So I don't disagree, but I still believe Scary Terry has a better shot at popping a big one than Garrett Wilson, because I don't trust Zach at all. And at least Howell can wing it, right? Like,
yeah,
he can sling it downfield and get you the big play, where you just don't see that happen very often with Zach Wilson. So
yeah, just playing devil's advocate, I certainly wouldn't bet against you here.
No, I got you. It's ugly here, right? Like I considered Waller.
If he was healthier and it wasn't Tyrod, maybe.
See,
Tyrod
might be an upgrade.
He might be. I actually starting him in Scott Fishbowl today, and I feel a little sick.
Yeah, it might be an upgrade for them. Oh, Marco says Gronk is an OnlyFans influencer in this future.
I think Gronk has his own OnlyFans page in the future.
And then that was back to Rob's. So Waller or Logan Thomas?
Logan for me.
Logan Thomas for me.
Wow. The fact that we're here.
And I have Waller ranked higher, but I should change it, because I think I have Waller at 7 and Logan at 9. I should flip them, I think.
Well, what do we have combined here with both of us with our combined rankings here?
You tell me. I'm afraid to use my
I'm
internet.
looking. We have Waller at 6 and Logan Thomas at 11.
Yeah.
Combined with our stuff. So, yeah, I think it's
Just trying to avoid the Giants wherever I can. Kind of like the Jets.
that's where I'm at. I would change this now that we know more and we know Tyrod's in there and we still don't know about Saquon. Saquon obviously changes that offense big when they have to at least think about the running back when it's Matt Breida. The defense can just say, just let him do whatever and make sure the wide receivers are covered. We're not worried about the running back beating us.
I think Saquon sits one more week for whatever that's worth.
Do people know that if they like and subscribe, their chances of winning increase by 130%? I'm here for the season. Spread the word. Let's boost this channel. Big Boz Productions. We appreciate you. And you got the math right on. So kudos to you for that. C-Dog wants to know Laporta or Kmet, with Laporta being banged up. Bryce, which one are you going with?
Laporta is expected to play, so you got to put him in your lineups at this point. Yeah, it's Laporta for me. Fully. Yeah,
it's Sam Laporta for me, but don't discount the fact that Cole Kmet's playing against Minnesota this week, and I know that Minnesota's been known to be not the greatest run defense. They've actually tightened that up a little bit, so I think Fields uses his arm like he has the last week and a bit. So Kmet will be good, but I'll still stick with Sam Laporta.
Sam Laporta for me as well, but I agree. I think these guys, if I'm right, I had Kmet like number 8 on the week.
That's where I have him.
One of us is wrong because we have him as the tight end 13.
I think I updated, but I didn't update. I don't know if I hit. God only knows what I'm doing with the internet these days here.
Do I need to? I'll update them right now if we need them updated. I don't know. They don't update automatically, so you got to tell me.
I did do a Friday change, so that might be what's not reflected.
Okay, I will update those here in just a second. We all went with Laporta. Good morning, fellas. Andres wants to know Pittman or Jerome Ford in half PPR. I think we're all going to be on Pittman and avoiding that Cleveland game, right?
Easily.
In the games in which Gardner Minshew has started or come in, Michael Pittman has over a 30% target share, and I don't think that's changing anytime soon. One of the guys I was probably the most wrong on coming into this season. Easily Pittman for me.
Yeah, I'm on Pittman. You guys know that. I was telling everybody before the season, it doesn't matter which quarterback it is. Pittman's insulated. Too much target share there not to play. I'm going Pittman as well. Good morning. 2 lineup questions. Pick 2 wide receivers. Okay, do the first part first, and then we'll do the second part. Pick 2 wide receivers: Kupp, Lockett, Evans, Godwin, or Christian Kirk. Bryce, 2 out of those. Which ones are you going with?
I'm going with Cooper Kupp and Mike Evans. Sorry.
Kupp for sure. Who the Bucs got this week? They've got the Lions, right?
Yes.
And Seattle plays. I don't know. I'm going to go all. Yeah, Kupp and Evans. I'm a little worried about Evans' hammy, though, but he's had that hammy problem his whole life, so he's pretty good. So I'll go with Kupp and Evans. Yeah. I'm
Kupp and Evans as well.
I was almost Lockett, but I don't think so.
Yeah, it's that's who I would be on next. And they aren't that far off, but Kupp and Evans is where I'll go. So now we got to pick 2 running backs. We got Kamara, Montgomery, and Jonathan Taylor. Which one of those 3 are you going to sit? I think we're all going to be on the same page here as well, but Sully, which one are you sitting?
I think I finally hit the Jonathan Taylor threshold. I'm starting Kamara and Montgomery.
Yeah, it's kind of easy, actually, to sit Jonathan Taylor this week.
What a world.
Options. Yeah.
Derrick Henry has 4 carries for 6 yards with the longest run of 2. Is he?
Yeah, he had he had a 30-yard run that they had, but the one of the offensive linemen was apparently lined up off the ball. He freaking ran over like 2 dudes in it too.
Rob wants to know DeMercado or Watson for last bench spot. 10-team PPR. Rest of team is Cousins, T-Law, Eckler, Mostert, Mixon, Madison, St. Brown, Moore, Nico, Ridley, Logan, and Waller. So out of these guys, which one are you going to keep for that last little roster spot? Sully, which one are you going with?
Sorry, what Watson are we talking about?
Probably Christian Watson, I'm assuming.
Yeah. He said he was on his waiver wire right now.
I think it has to be Christian Watson, and I get the desire to add DeMercado to your roster, but Christian Watson's going to be more fantasy relevant, I believe, rest of the season than DeMercado will.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I mean, I really just, after looking at your lineup here, it's a 10-man league, so I would expect them to be pretty stacked. It looks tough for either of these guys to make your starting lineup, but if any of them were going to, it'd be Christian Watson over DeMercado. So I would also stick Christian Watson on my last bench spot.
I'm looking at this roster, and I think it's a lot less likely that you ever put Christian Watson in your lineup than DeMercado. So I'm going to actually go DeMercado here. We've got the aging running back with health concerns ahead of him. He could be the guy for the majority of the rest of the season. And I just don't know that we're ever going to feel comfortable starting Christian Watson. If it was best ball, I would love Christian Watson here in this situation. But I think I'm going to actually go with DeMercado here. Mostert, who knows if he stays healthy. And then after that, there's question marks. I just think the running back spot is needed a little bit more here. I'm assuming that's DJ Moore and not Elijah Moore. If it's Elijah Moore, that changes everything, right? The depth at wide receiver there goes bye-bye real quick. So assuming that's DJ Moore.
And it's close with Nico too, but I don't disagree with your line of thinking here.
Big Boz says both. I don't remember what that was to, but hopefully we got that answered right. Panthers fan here. Thoughts on Bryce Young, not fantasy-wise, just in general. So, Sully, what were your thoughts coming into the season, and where are you at now with Bryce Young after we've seen him play 4 weeks, right? Because he missed one, but what are your thoughts?
He's my QB1 coming in. I'm genuinely concerned at this point. I've watched a lot of Panthers games, but I did have watched some, and he just doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't look like a NFL caliber quarterback. There's some stuff going on in Carolina with David Tepper, the owner, and Reich, the head coach. You can see that's a little bit weird. I don't think necessarily that they're letting Bryce Young be Bryce Young, and I think that's what's holding him back, because in college where he became effective is when he kind of went off script and just ad-libbed and did what he had to do to find guys. And I think maybe they might want to just let the kid play. You drafted him first overall, you better figure it out. But when you look at what they gave the Bears, and considering the Bears hold their number 1 draft pick and they're 0-5, that might be the worst trade in the history of football. But I'm concerned about him. If just like the Carolina Panthers, if I'm his fantasy manager, I'm not going to do anything about it right now. I'm just going to wait and see. But I don't like what I see at all.
Bryce.
Yeah, he was my QB3 coming into this draft. I had CJ Stroud number 1, and when they made the trade, I was for sure certain that they were taking CJ Stroud number 1 overall. But I try not to look at these rookie quarterbacks first year too heavily to dictate their future, because we've seen plenty of guys that have had great careers have a bad first year. You just got to watch and see if you can see glimpses of like maybe he can be a top quarterback in the league, and we just haven't seen that yet. And I haven't looked too much into the organization like you mentioned, Sully. So it could be some situations like that, but it seems like out of all the rookie quarterbacks that got drafted, he got put in a situation with like some of the better talent when it comes to the wide receiver position, offensive line, just team in general. So you would have thought he would have been having the best season out of the rookie quarterback so far. So I would definitely have some concern. But there's still a lot of football to be played this year, and they're going to give him a lot more time to prove themselves. So I'll hold on, but there's definitely some reasons for concern. Rick?
See, it's funny because I was going to say the opposite. I was going to say that I feel like Bryce Young got into the worst situation out of the three.
I think that offensive line is terrible.
Yeah, and Thielen's a good wide receiver, but older. CJ Stroud got the younger. I mean, Robert Woods is there, but like his top two guys have been Tank Dell and Nico, who are younger, a little more spry. Didn't have the big names, but are performing really well. And then obviously Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis had Michael Pittman, who I think is the best wide receiver from all three of those teams. And a defense and offensive line that was bad last year, but should have been better, and are playing better this year. So it's hard to tell which one really has the worst spot. I would lean Bryce Young having the worst team around him. But I mean, this dude just doesn't look like a grown-up on the field. And I think that is part of the trouble, is that he hasn't learned how to see the field yet, with everybody else being so much bigger than him. I mean, he's always been a smaller guy, but when you have all NFL players in front of you, it's a completely different thing than even at Alabama, right? So
they got to let him play.
And everybody's flying around faster than ever and bigger and everything. I'm concerned, but it's the concerns that I already had. And I figured if he is going to get past them, it's going to take some time for him to learn, right? Like to learn how to use his size, get into the right spots to see the field. So I'm not any more concerned than I was before these last 4 games have been played. I always thought it was going to take him some more time. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. So 808 Dole wants to let us know that this is Bob Dole.
Hey, Bob.
Bob Dole in the questions. Random question. Better Halloween costume idea, Captain Planet or Art the Clown? And then he elbow coughs for us here. I'm always going with clowns. I just think people hate clowns. So that's always like the way I'm going to go with the Halloween costume.
I agree, because I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I didn't know who Captain Planet was. I had to look it up.
Well, you're freaking young.
Right?
That was a cartoon back from my day.
I looked at it. It looks ancient.
It looks ancient. Oh my god.
Now I got to look it up because I'm old as dirt. I don't even know who it is.
This kid right here.
Yeah, Art the Clown is the Terrifier, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, that movie was like weird. If you haven't seen it, have you seen it, Rick?
Yeah, dude. Terrifier movies are great.
They're making a third one too, so I look forward to that. Yeah, I would definitely go Art. Creepy.
Captain Planet's old school. If you can pull off that green flat top hair, I would do it.
If you have a 6-pack and you can wear that outfit.
There you go.
Look up Art the Clown, though.
Okay, hang on.
Art is creepy.
Eric wants to know, because he's completely torn, Gabe Davis or Scary Terry? Which one you going with, Bryce?
Oh, geez. I'm gonna go with Gabe Davis here. It's come down to these two wide receivers where it's like, which one do I have more confidence will score a touchdown? And it's definitely Gabe Davis in that Bills offense at this point. So I'll go with Gabe Davis, even though I think Scary Terry is the better wide receiver. Sully?
Art the Clown is a must-start Halloween costume, by the way.
Yeah.
That is 100% the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I'm a little freaked out just looking at that. Anyway,
are you terrified?
Watch the movie.
A little bit. I'm going Gabe Davis here, although Gabe Davis is staring regression to the mean in the face. I'm still going with him. Better quarterback, better offense, better opportunity to score, like Bryce said, and he's on a heater right now. So I'm going to roll with Gabe Davis.
I'm going against the grain. I'm going Scary Terry here.
I like it.
I feel like we're gonna get the breakout Terry game this week. I like him a lot this week.
They're both looking at regressing to the mean, and that means more Terry, less Gabe. So I don't hate that at all.
Big Boz says, just thought I would let y'all know I'm going on player info boards on Yahoo and spreading the word about your channel. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Boz.
Having those street soldiers out there spreading the word is always a good thing. So we really appreciate it. 808 wanted to let Rob know. Go with Captain Planet. And then Rob was letting us know that was DJ Moore. Yeah, with those 4 receivers
We
you had
figured.
on that one, I like going the other way. We got Logan Thomas or Laporta from Daniel here. I think we're all going to be on Laporta, but this is a good option to have, right? Everybody's going Laporta.
I'm going Laporta.
I am, but honestly, my answer is a cop-out. Either one is fine.
Yeah. If you hear Laporta in any way, shape, or form is limited, then you flip it.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to know. We should know that in the next hour here. So whether Laporta is going to be limited or not. If he is limited, then I agree, Thomas. Top Ranka says Thomas here. Not really much argument. I like them both. Should I trade Bryce and Ramondre for Pollard? No, I'm keeping Bryce.
I would trade Ramondre for Pollard, but there's no way I would trade both. No way.
Bryce is the running back here I want the most for the rest of the season.
Easily.
I agree. And just really quick, the Commanders are an early game and the Lions are an afternoon game. So you'll have to make that decision without the information on the snaps and limits. Breece Hall, then Tony Pollard, then Ramondre Stevenson. So I'm not going to trade 2 of the guys for the one that I want. Breece and Ramondre for Pollard. If anything, it should be Ramondre and Pollard for Breece, in my opinion. But
that's what I was saying. I want Breece the most.
Yeah,
out of all
no
these.
way. There's no way that Breece and Ramondre are less valuable than Pollard and whoever else you're going to plug in. So no.
Okay, so then the next question is full PPR. Should I start Kirk, Burrow, or Stafford at quarterback? I got to get back to.
I believe I have them ranked Burrow, Stafford, Kirk this week, and that's how I would roll. So I will start Joe Burrow.
It's Burrow for me.
I think I have Cousins higher.
Really, hey?
I have Cousins at 8, Burrow at 11, and Stafford at 13. So I'm going with Kirk Cousins here.
I like it. We're gonna run a lot more than people think today.
Our run defense has actually been pretty good this year. That's one thing we've been stopping. So
if we have the ball, if we have the ball, you guys can't score. So I think we're gonna try to slow this thing down a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're giving up like 3.6 yards per carry this year. Our run defense.
Both of our run defenses has gotten a lot better. Like to Bryce's point earlier, this thing could be 75-70 when it's all said and done.
That'd be sweet.
It would.
Daniel wants to know James Cook or Collins here. Who you going with, Sully?
I go with Nico.
I'm going
Bryce?
James Cook. I'm going James Cook.
And I'm actually looking.
His touches are dropping like a stone the last little while. Like his snap counts and touches from week 1 to week 5. It's really interesting. Like he's less and less involved all the time. And without Tank, I think I like Nico a lot.
I don't know how you guys do this, but people always ask questions, and then guys are back to back in my rankings. I have James Cook at 32 overall and Collins at 33 overall. So I am slightly Cook. Wouldn't really argue big time. Cook does have that. I mean, Cook has a Giants matchup
that's fair.
Is juicier than crap because they're probably not going to throw the ball a ton, if we're being honest, because they're not going to need to.
His snap percentage was tied for his most last week, though.
Was it? Must have been going into last week.
His touches were down, and then his percentage against Miami was definitely lower. But that game was just like them passing.
They might have been. They might have just been running out clock in that one too, right? So maybe I'm reading more into that.
Well, his highest snap percentage also has resulted in his lowest amount of points. So
the correlation, don't you love it when correlation works out?
Snaps certainly matter, but touches obviously matter even more at that position. So
correct.
But whatever.
Leon wants to know Breece Hall or Chris Olave. Sully, who you going with?
I heard Bryce say earlier that it's probably got to the time where Breece Hall is a must start, and I agree 100%. I am a huge Chris Olave guy, but I don't see a scenario where I'm taking Hall, who's probably top 8 at worst rest of the season, out of my lineup. So Hall for me.
Yeah, it's Breece Hall for me. He's got a tough matchup against Philly, which sucks, but he, like I said, he's always putting out those big runs, it seems like. So we'll just hope he can pull off one of those again. He gets his full workload on Go Breece Hall.
Super chat.
Yep. I agree. Breece Hall is the answer here for me as well. Again, I think he might be a top 3 to 4 running back rest of the season. Now that he's back and not limited, I like it a lot. But Joe, I like this a lot. Dropping that $4.99 super chat to jump to the front of the line. We appreciate you, Joe. He says, "What's up, boys? Hollywood or Gabe Davis? I also have Diggs and Cup. So which wide receiver are you going with here for your number 3? Bryce, why don't you start us off?"
I will go with Hollywood Brown. Gabe Davis obviously has the higher touchdown upside, but Hollywood Brown's usage in that offense is it's one of the best in the league. So I'll go with Hollywood Brown. And I really don't like to stack wide receivers from the same team very often. I mean, I don't necessarily try and avoid it, especially with a team like the Bills, but I feel a little safer throwing in Hollywood Brown in there to not put all my eggs in one basket. Sully. Zay Flowers touchdown and 2-point conversion.
Look at that. That's all Zay Flowers has been missing. He's been doing everything but scoring.
Yeah.
I'm really struggling with this one, and I hadn't even thought of the Diggs-Davis stack until you mentioned it. I think the Rams secondary is a lot better than we all thought it was going to be early in the season. I think the volume play is probably Hollywood by a large amount. Dobbs has been better. Dobbs has been a better quarterback than most people have thought. I'll go Hollywood here as well, but this one's really hard for me.
Yeah, I'm Hollywood. I'm Hollywood. You guys have already said enough on that one. I don't need to say anymore. Top Ranker says I got.
Sorry, the 2-point conversion was ruled offensive pass interference and overturned, and then Tucker's extra point was blocked. So sorry for you guys that started Tucker.
Well, he already had 7 anyway, so he had to start.
He had more than that. He had like 10 or 12 or something like that now.
Oh, really?
He's got 3 field goals.
He didn't get 13. It got blocked. So
I haven't been able to watch any. I know Bryce is watching because it's his profile view most of the time. Side of his face.
His good side, though. That's his good side, so he's good.
I got C.J. Stroud, Stafford, Hubbard, Madison, Taylor, Foreman, Collins, Chase, Logan, Laporta, Downs, Woods, Ahmed, and down 40. Who do I start?
Ooh.
I mean,
can you tell us how many positions and stuff you do?
So he played against. Sounds like he played against Mahomes and Kelsey.
Sorry to hear that. So you start Stafford over Stroud. Let's say you pick 2 running backs. I'm going to go with.
I'm going with Taylor and Foreman.
Yeah, I think Foreman's going to disappoint today.
I do not think so. He's going to get too much work.
He doesn't catch.
Oh, he will. He was catching preseason too.
Catching bench. I will go with Taylor and
I'll take if you want to make
Madison over Foreman straight up.
I'll do it right now. Put it. That's easy.
I'm putting Foreman in.
Easy money.
Oh, you guys are nuts.
You, dude. I don't. Crazy.
You've been crapping against Madison all season, and all he's been doing is putting up solid RB2 weeks every single week.
Oh, solid RB2 weeks. Great job, Madison. Fucking monkey can with that many touches.
Really? Because I don't know how many running backs start on a weekly basis, but he's beaten about 40 plus of them on a weekly basis. So I guess there's a lot of monkeys playing in a lot of backfields.
Well, starting and getting that many touches are two different things.
But there's a reason why you're starting him is because he is getting those touches. You can't
And
make truthers out
Foreman's
there.
going to this week.
Keep wait. All right. But so will Madison, and he'll get more targets.
I'll put money on that one too. I'll bet Foreman
Done.
gets more targets.
Write it down, Bryce.
We'll double it up.
I'm not on that one.
We might as well bet on the game too while we're at it. I want the Bears.
Well, I'm not taking the Vikings. I know that much. Yeah. So 3 wide receivers and a flex is what he needs out of this. So we're arguing over running backs. He doesn't even need them. He's fucking.
All right. Nico, Chase, Downs, and Woods would be the wide receivers.
I mean, you just picked 4. I mean,
no, I'm just reading them because they're.
Oh yeah, they're not in order.
Logan and Laporta are in there between Downs and Woods. Well, Chase is easy.
Collins
is easy.
Really like Josh Downs with
I'm going Chase, Collins, and Downs because I'm trying not to do Collins and Woods.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah, Downs has a 20+% target share in Gardner games, so I like Downs a lot. So I'm with you on Collins, Chase, and Downs.
And then I'll go with the running back that you're not starting here, Hubbard. Oh, that's who I'm going with anyway. Hubbard and Taylor is who I would go with at running back. I didn't even notice Hubbard in there. I'd go Hubbard, Taylor, Foreman at running back with whichever one you want to put in the flex, whatever you're doing there. That's what I would do.
I'd be the same, but I'll swap Madison in for Foreman.
I'm going Hubbard, Taylor, then Foreman.
Nice.
And same wide receivers.
Blake says start 2 running backs: Monty, JT, Ford, Pierce, full PPR. So do the running backs first. Monty, JT, Ford, Pierce. Which 2 are you going to start out of those? Bryce.
Monty and JT for me.
Agree.
I agree there. Now we're going to wide receiver. We're going to start 3 out of Chase, St. Brown, Waddle, Ayuk. Which one are you going to sit? Sully.
Ayuk. Which is gross.
I'm sitting Waddle.
Ooh, no Achan.
I'm sitting Waddle as well.
Ooh, Waddle's going to go nuts.
Any of those guys could, really.
I just think with Achan out, Waddle's going to be more needed in that offense to do what they do.
Laporta with a calf. My doctor's got him as a 68 injury scale out of 100. Cool. I'm still if he's active, I'm playing unless they come out and say that he's limited. But then you got to make that decision early because he plays afternoon. But I'm playing him. If it looks like he's going to be good. If you have a good option, I have no problem putting them in ahead of him just in case he doesn't play. I got burnt last week on the Aaron Jones stuff because it looked like he was going to play. And then they ended up sitting him. And luckily, still somehow two matchups, I took the zeros with him and still got the dub. So luckily, the rest of my team did good. But Batiste says, good morning, guys. Standard scoring league. Need to start 3. Olave, Thielen, Gabe Davis, Addison, Godwin. So 3 out of these, I'm going to go with Olave, Thielen, and Addison. Addison and Godwin are really close for me, but Olave, Thielen are ahead. Olave, Thielen, and Addison. Sully.
Yeah, I'll join you on that, but I wouldn't be surprised if KJ Osborne outscores Jordan.
I said that earlier, didn't I?
Yeah,
but I'm still going to go.
We both like Osborne today.
I'm still going. I think Olave and Thielen are, and not to dismiss the question, but I think the easy 2 choices here. It's between the other 3 that I'm kind of struggling a little bit with, but I'll take Addison because he just should get targets.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it a couple of times. I want all the parts of that game. Even with Olave and Thielen being an easy choice, Addison becomes my 3rd choice kind of easily as well.
Blake wants to know, are you starting Kittle or Kmet in a full PPR league? Bryce.
I guess I'll start the boomer bust play in George Kittle. Yeah, I like both of these options, but when I get these tight ends, I want the guy that could also put up the crazy amount of points. If you wanted a safer play, I couldn't really blame you for commit, but I'm still going to go with George Kittle in this, in a vacuum. Sully?
It's Cole Kmet for me, and it's actually a pretty easy decision. George Kittle had 3 touchdowns last week. He had 3 catches. He's been rather invisible in that offense, and when everybody is healthy in that offense, he takes the back seat. The Browns are a legit defense, and the Vikings aren't. So Cole Kmet is more than capable of putting up 2 touchdowns on his own, the same as Kittle is here, and I think he does more between the 20s. So it's Cole Kmet, easy for me.
I was 100% going to say Kittle. I have Kittle ranked higher. I don't know why either, because I'm the one last week that was saying Kittle with Ayuk and Debo healthy is typically non-existent fantasy-wise. But then obviously has the 3 TD game last week on 3 catches. So you have completely turned it around for me. I agree. I'm going with Kmet here, changing my mind. Going against my rankings and agreeing with Sully here. Kmet, especially now that Mr. Claypool is down there in Miami, we've seen a huge shift in the way the Bears run the offense since they sent Claypool home. They were running 11 personnel at the 3rd highest clip in the NFL. It's 78% of the time, trying to get Mooney, Claypool, and Moore all on the field at the same time. And over the past 2 weeks, that has shifted. They're back down to the bottom of the league in that. They're running more 12 personnel with Kmet and Tanyan on the field. So we've seen a big difference in fantasy production out of Kmet over those 2 weeks as well.
Rick, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Is this a Tyler Scott week?
I think it's more likely a Darnell Mooney week. Him and Fields have not been on the same page. They've not been connecting very well so far this year. I think that's one thing that this offense is going to try to get going. At some point, Tyler Scott's going to have a big play, but I don't know that he's going to be consistently used enough behind the other 3 options in the pass game. So I don't know that it's a Tyler Scott week. I would think Mooney may have his breakout week this week, but yeah, it's
he's your wide receiver 3 now, though, isn't he? With
Tyler Scott.
With Claypool gone and ESB on IR, and I don't know who else you have.
I mean, Velus Jones is going to get in there. He showed some at the end of last year.
Yeah, it's nice to let your grandpa play every once in a while.
I mean, the kid's 26 years old, so
I know he is. That's what makes it so funny.
He's not quite Stetson Bennett age, but
right? Everybody thinks he's 75.
And people keep forgetting there's guys that are in their 8th year of college football this year because of COVID and the way that affected everything. There's some old guys coming out next year as well.
So fun. Anyway, but, sorry to distract. I'm just going to build some DFS thing there.
They did just bring in Colin Johnson, who I like and who could be big for this offense just because we don't have that big wide receiver right now, right? That's what Claypool was supposed to be. Now that he's gone, ESB was probably our 2nd biggest receiver. Now that he's hurt, it is a bunch of smaller guys. So Colin Johnson down the road could play some pivotal.
I liked him. Moments. I liked him as a rookie in Jacksonville a lot. So,
and he's a good run blocker, and that's what they really need.
Especially
for the way
with
they run
ESB
that offense. Yep.
Cool. It's Bears talk.
Joe Budafuco says, "Remember, Buff runs a 2 tight end scheme, so they only have Diggs and Davis out there."
Keep your eye on Knox's health as well, and Kincaid. They're both banged up, so I don't know how much 2 tight end sets are running this week, but you're not wrong.
Pierce, Ford, or D Mercado PPR. Bryce, which one are you going with?
This is Pierce, rather easy for me. Sully.
Yeah, Pierce, DeMarcado, Ford is how I believe I have it ranked. Or if I don't, I should.
Same. Perfect question. Foreman.
Yep, Foreman for me.
Not everybody can be right. I will take Alexander Madison.
So I think what he was saying there, Bryce, is we're right. So he's going to take the step, take the heat off, be wrong.
Yeah.
Keep crapping on my boy. He'll just keep putting up fantasy points.
If you have the time, what do you think of my team? We have 2 flex spots, wide receiver, tight end, and wide receiver running back. We have Cousins, Adams, Lamb, Montgomery, Madison, Andrews, Lamb. Oh, he said Lamb twice. Garrett Wilson, Elliott, Baltimore for his starters.
He says later he meant to say Metcalf instead of Lamb the second time.
Okay, so DK is one of those Lambs.
Yeah.
Cousins is his QB. His running backs are Montgomery, Madison, wide receivers Adams, Lamb, Wilson, DK, kickers Elliott. You got a good team. You just got to turn some of your wide receiver strength into some help. As much as I like Alexander Madison, I would like a little bit more depth to go along with David Montgomery. So that's what I would say, but I think you have a pretty darn solid roster. And that wide receiver core probably carries you through like Rick likes to do with no running backs and rocking lineups everywhere else. But that's what I would try to do. I would try to turn DK or maybe even CeeDee Lamb right now into like maybe try to turn from CeeDee Lamb to Tony Pollard or something like that.
I mean, I'm on board with everything. Garrett Wilson, if he has a big week, is the one I'm trying to get out from under.
Yeah, I don't argue that.
I do not trust him long term. But I think you have a solid team here.
Yeah, I agree.
Aaron Rodgers is walking without crutches. He's coming back.
So I traded for him. Yeah, I would try to add some running back depth as well. I agree, guys.
Colin says half PPR, wait and see if Barkley plays. Other options are Cam Akers, Deonta Foreman. I would just start Foreman here myself.
I'm in that situation, and I have Foreman in over Saquon Barkley. So, yep, I agree.
I would do the same. I've last thing I am as a doctor, but I just, reading the tea leaves, it looks like Saquon sits one more week, and Cam Akers is just not what everybody wants Cam Akers to be. Foreman.
There was a report last night that the organization is optimistic that he will be playing tomorrow or tonight, if that changes anything. But even then, we mentioned earlier that this game could get ugly quickly, and there's just no point in playing him if it gets that way. So,
and I saw a couple of interviews with him, and his body language and his answers didn't sound like a guy who was planning on playing. But again, I don't want
to play for that organization. I wouldn't.
Well, I don't think he did, but he had no choice.
This is the bench for that team that we just had above. DeMercado, Waller, Purdy, Ford, McLaurin. And then he has Connor and Achane on IR, so that really hurt the running backs there.
And I think Ford's going to start more weeks than not over Madison, or they'd be close at least. I think obviously it makes sense to not put Ford in this week. But yeah, depends what your record is too, right? Like if you probably had a hot start with Achane and that lineup. So if you're 5-0, 4-1, I might ride for a little bit and see how it goes, waiting for these guys to come back.
That's where I would be too, because you have good running backs if those guys can get back. If not, I would look to trade one of the quarterback, like pair up a quarterback and tight end here. Maybe try to get some running back depth now that we
you don't need. Yep.
Top says, thank you, guys. No problem at all. Then Big Boss says, yeah, one of those was DK. Josh says, traded Cook, Achane, and Debo for Pollard and Ayuk. What do y'all think?
I think I like it, considering the scenario in which Achane finds himself in. I like that.
Yep, I agree.
Yep.
I think it's a good trade.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with it. Absolutely.
Ayuk and Pollard, I feel like you are comfortable putting in your lineup every week, whereas Cook and Debo, like you are every week going to be a little bit different.
You probably got the best two players in the deal.
Yeah, that's what I think.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Drew Williams says 18 PPR, 1-4 so far. Injuries hurt. Any thoughts for players I should seek out? QB, Burrow and Richardson. Running back, Achane, Mostert, Etienne, Hall, and Gibbs. Evans, Nakua, McLaurin, and Jamison Williams at wide receiver, and then Kelsey at tight end. So you're good at tight end. You're good at running back. And then when Achane gets back, it's just a bonus. I don't know what you guys think about this, but maybe using Achane to a team that is maybe 4-1. Maybe you could upgrade that number 3 wide receiver while he's on IR if they can wait for Achane to benefit them and get you some wide receiver. That may be the move to make to upgrade McLaurin, Jamison Williams.
Yeah, I agree. In an 8-team league, Jamison Williams should be dropped. So I would take a look at your waiver wire and see what's out there. Probably something more beneficial for you right off the hop at wide receiver. But I'm with Rick. I think you need to pull from your strength of running back here. If Achane won't work, I would ride the hot. Try moving Mostert because he's probably going to get hurt at some point. He just has his entire career, and his value is through the charts right now. And try to strengthen that wide receiver group. That'd be my way to try to go at it.
Yeah, I'd be looking to move Gibbs or Achane and add some wide receiver depth. I think Mostert could be a league winner, so I'm holding on to him.
He could. I just don't know what you get for Gibbs or Achane right now, considering they're both
you're not getting nothing for Gibbs.
And honestly, I wouldn't be opposed of trying to sell Etienne off this big week. I mean, prior to last week, Etienne was like averaging running back like 17 or 18. So if you can capitalize on the big 2 touchdown week from him and add even like upgrade it at wide receiver, even if it's a guy that could be an upgrade over Mike Evans or Puka, I think that could be beneficial as well. I think Etienne's overvalued right now.
It's funny because I was thinking maybe you move Hall here and try for a home run wide receiver return. I don't know. It's tough in an 8-team league. I haven't played in one. I haven't played in an 8-team league in a long time, and it's been a while. So everybody's got talent, right? So that's tough. But I think you got to go look at that waiver wire because Williams does not need to be on your roster.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be opposed to pairing up Achane and Mostert to get a deal done for a better receiver and just ride with the other 2, and then whatever you've got on your bench, or can pick up Gibbs. I just don't feel you're not going to get anything. I think he's going to be more valuable second half of the season, and right now you're just giving him away if you do trade him because there's no reason for anybody to give you anything for him right now, which is unfortunate. Okay, Devonta Smith or Jacoby Myers? Sully.
Oof, I don't want to look at my rankings. I'll go with. Man, this one's tough, and it shouldn't really be that tough.
I know.
Smith's got a pretty, to your point earlier, juicy matchup this week, doesn't he? Who do they play? Eagles play.
I'm
sorry.
Jets.
Without Sauce, right?
Is Sauce out? I seen he was questionable, but
he's out. Yeah, he went from sickness to concussion. So
that may actually hurt Smith.
Well, it helps AJ, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Is that with Sauce out, it hurts. It helps AJ, but hurts Smith because you probably would have been forcing it to Smith more with Sauce on AJB. So that actually probably kind of dings him.
Jimmy loves Jacoby Myers, and screw it. I'm going to just go with Jacoby here. I just think he's probably going to have the eye of his quarterback a little bit more. And the Eagles might not have to throw the ball as much as they normally do either in this one. They probably win this game rather comfortably. I'll go Jacoby. Just found an eye for the end zone. He just had to get a New England.
Vegas plays New England. I'm
100% on Jacoby Myers then.
Yeah. So Jacoby Myers is like a guy that I'm definitely putting in my lineups this week. And with Devonta Smith and AJ Brown, Sauce Gardner doesn't shadow. He stays on one side of the field. So it doesn't really affect the rankings for me. It's more of like how are they scheming their offense to how they're lining up. Obviously, he'd probably follow if they put both of them on the same. If they put Smith and AJ Brown both on the left side, they're going to have to move. They'd have to move them over at that point. But if they split them, I think they just keep Reed on one side and they've been keeping Sauce on the other, similar to what the Rams were doing with Jalen Ramsey back when they had him. So that doesn't really affect Devontae Smith for me, and I still like him.
I'm gonna tell you why it does, because Smith lines up on the inside a lot more than AJ Brown does. So you're gonna have AJ Brown on the outside. I would almost bet that he saw Sauce double the amount of times as Smith does. I mean, Smith lines up everywhere, but he lines up on the inside a lot more where Sauce isn't going to be.
Yeah, but are they lining? I would like to see the numbers on how often are they lined up on the same side of the field. Because like if Smith's on the inside and he's on the right side and AJ Brown's on the left, then Sauce is on his left, right? So he would be on whatever the best receiver is on his side of the field. So if they are both lined up on the same side of the field, and then that Sauce would draw that number one, then I think it would matter. It's like there's like too many intricacies to that I don't know to where it would
he's
matter.
out anyway, so
yeah.
Michael Carter's no slouch on the other side, and Bryce Hall, the other cover guy, is pretty damn good too. Like, so that defense is rock solid. But I think I don't know enough about all I know is defense doesn't have the football. That's the extent of my knowledge of that. So I don't know.
This is a revenge game. Jacoby Myers.
It's a Jacoby Myers, Jimmy Garoppolo, Josh McDaniels revenge game. It's a triple revenge game.
Yeah. We might see Brandon Bolden get in there.
Oh, 4.
After all that, I'm going to go with Devonta Smith.
I'm going Jacoby.
Love it.
Sleepy RPG Supercharged. I'm stuck trying to decide between starting Moss and B Hall this week. Well, we're going to help you out. You're starting Hall.
You are definitely starting Hall, and I'll be right back and use the restroom.
I got to do that when you get back.
I was going to say that. So you're next, and then I'm going.
We got a whole line.
The young guy's
you
quick
go first.
Yeah, the young guy's quick. No, you go ahead. I'm fine.
I got the furthest to go to mine.
I get it. So I was watching some stuff on the Colts offense last week, and before Richardson got hurt, was it last week or the week before where Moss went crazy? It was last week. It was before Richardson got hurt where Moss did most of his damage. And I can't remember who they were playing, but when they ran that run pass option, the defense had 2 players locked on Richardson. And what happened is it caused these gargantuan holes. And when he gave Moss the football, he took off. And it made me think, like, where have I been wrong about Zach Moss here? Because he had every opportunity in the world in Buffalo to be a number 1 running back, and he never could. So I just think that in what we've been saying all offseason is just wait until Jonathan Taylor gets into that offense. Now, we're not going to see him with Anthony Richardson probably until week 11 or 12 at earliest.
Dude, it looks like he might be out the rest of the year.
There you go. So, but Zach Moss is, all I'm trying to say is I think he's fool's gold. I think with a more traditional offense with Gardner Minshew and more less, run pass option, I think Moss has to make his own holes now, and he's never been able to do that. So forget that it's up against Breece Hall this week. I think Zach Moss is if he does anything this week and you have him on your roster, sell him fast.
Yep, I agree. Breece Hall by a landslide for myself here. DG Wavy says Hubbard, Foreman, or Brian Robinson in a standard league. Which one you go with?
I'm all over the place here, and I don't want to say Foreman because I was down on him earlier, and I hate contradicting myself. I think it's Hubbard here just based on volume and also work in the passing game. I'd probably have Foreman third here because Robinson is definitely their preferred back in Washington, but I'm going to start Hubbard, I believe.
It's Hubbard, Foreman, then Robinson for me.
I wouldn't argue that.
But, yeah.
He had something
what
to
about
eat,
you,
too.
Bryce? Yeah, he did. I see that. I see him snacking.
I knew he was gone way too long for a man of that age to pee.
I only did grab some Oreos.
Yeah.
Some
I'm
Oreos?
Like, that kid pees in 5 seconds. Where is he?
I just had to get something to drink.
Go ahead, Rob.
Oreos. Hubbard for me as well.
Okay. Rob, go ahead. Go hit the restroom.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Bryce, what are you doing here? Quit freaking chewing on camera, you camel.
I said Hubbard.
I didn't hear you. We were busy making fun of you. Chris needs 2 running backs here. He's got Rachaad White, Zach Moss, JT, Ford, Keontae Ingram, and he says thanks in advance. JT, Rachaad White for me.
JT and Rachaad White for me as well.
All right, Rob wants us to grade his team and asks if there's any moves that he can make. 12-team PPR, Fields, Kenneth Walker, Josh Jacobs, DJ Moore, Pukalani, Kelsey, Nico. Benches Madison, Ford, DeMercado, Ridley, Downs, Logan, and Minshew. So, looking at this, I mean, I give it a solid, like, B+ probably.
Yeah, I like this team. Definitely got tight end depth, which is nice with Logan Thomas.
Lots of targets.
Would you be putting in Ridley over Nico?
Not this week. Not with Tank Dell out. I think Nico's going to get a ton of targets here. I like Nico a lot this week.
Okay. I guess that helps the next question too. Yeah, I like this team. This is a contending roster for sure.
Yeah. Lots of targets here, man. Lots of targets. Nico Collins, I'm sorry. As long as Zach Wilson's the quarterback, I don't trust it. I'm going Nico Collins here.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson will have good games, but they'll be inconsistent. So give me Nico Collins.
Marco says, good morning, Puka or DJ Moore. Also, Waller or Logan Thomas.
Wow. Man, that sucks. How do you not get both these guys in your lineup?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with DJ Moore. I want every part of this game, like I've mentioned multiple times. He is the number 1 on his team, where now I think Puka is the number 2 with Cooper cut back. Yeah, that sums it up. I'll take DJ Moore, but it's close.
Yeah, I have DJ Moore ahead as well. I have DJ Moore ranked 22 overall. Puka, I think I had 40. Yeah, 40 overall. So I have them both high. They are our wide receivers 9 and 10 in our combined rankings here. So I've got DJ Moore ahead here. I'm going with him. Justin Fields and him. All but one game, right? DJ Moore has been over 100 yards in 3 of the 5 games and scored a touchdown in another one of them. DJ Moore's a top 10 wide receiver going forward this season, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree.
Sully.
I'm going to go with Puka here, but it's incredibly close. And not to pat myself on the back, but nobody else does. I did a short when you guys traded for DJ Moore, and I said in that offense with how those guys perform in the middle of the field that DJ Moore will be a top 12 wide receiver this year, and it's coming to fruition.
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows I was all over that in the offseason as well. The big thing for me, like you said, middle of the field, DJ Moore has ran the second most routes since 2019 between 10 and 19 yards. And Justin Fields was number 1 in the NFL last year in completion percentage on throws between 10 and 19 yards. So it was like a match made in heaven. Perfect. And it took a little time to get going, but now we're seeing it.
It's happening all over the field too. That's what's the fun part.
Now we've got Waller and Logan Thomas to choose here. Which one are you going with, Sully?
Waller's a little banged up. I'm going to go with Logan Thomas. I think I have it ranked the other way, but I'm going against my own rankings and going with Logan Thomas here.
Logan Thomas for me.
Holy smokes. The fact that we're here. These are both guys that I like a lot. Both of them have trouble being healthy. And, I think is where we're at with this Giants offense. We got to go with Logan Thomas, right? And our rankings are different.
And cover your ass. That's the Sunday night game, that Giants game. So you never know what might happen in warm up with a hammy or whatever else he's dealing with. So Logan Thomas is a viable option if they're both healthy. So take away the risk and start Logan Thomas.
All right. So Colin needs to know, in a half PPR, are we sitting Amari Cooper for Gabe Davis?
1,000%. I'm starting Bryce over Gabe or Amari Cooper this week.
I'd go out there and cook first off, but yeah, give me Gabe Davis for sure.
End arounds, just end arounds with you, buddy. That's all I'd be doing.
And by cook, he meant he's taking the food truck and making food for the tailgaters before the game. Drew Williams says, "Thanks, fellas. Waiver wire wide receivers: D Hop, T Higgins, and Zay Flowers. Should I drop? Yes.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second.
Wait, what's
Did you
going
write
on
this?
here?
D Hop, Higgins, and Zay Flowers. Should I drop Jameson Williams for one of them? You should drop Jameson Williams for all of them. And
well, Zay Flowers, you got to wait for now because he's played. So
right,
there's got to be an 8-man.
This got to be a 6-man. Like, I don't understand how these guys are on the waiver wire. And
well, they are.
Well, hang on. I don't mean to be a dick, but I don't understand how you have Williams rostered and these guys aren't.
Well,
I don't get it.
I mean, that's beside the point, though. You can only drop him and pick up one, so it can't be all of them. So which one are you picking? Obviously, Zay Flowers is out till Tuesday. If he's picking up one now, it's got to be D Hop or T Higgins.
Can't
which
be D Hop
one
either.
are you
He's
going
playing
with?
right.
D Hop's
playing right now too.
Oh yeah. T Higgins.
So you're dropping
drop
him.
Williams.
You're
for
dropping
T.
him for Higgins. I'm probably going to drop him for Higgins, and the next week I'll probably drop Higgins for Flowers or D Hop. Honestly.
Yeah, I'd want D Hop the most at all these guys personally.
Me too. That's who I would have picked, but yep. Brian says 3 wide receivers, PPR, Olave, Waddle, DJ Moore, or Olave, Garrett Wilson, Keenan. Which wide receiver core is better rest of season? Olave, Waddle, DJ Moore, or Olave, Garrett Wilson, and Keenan Allen? I'm going with the first side. Moore, Waddle, and Olave.
Yeah, I am as well. And to your point earlier, it's the Garrett Wilson risk factor, right? Like Olave, Waddle, and Moore are rock solid in their offenses. All have, and obviously health can change this, but they all have a good offense and a good quarterback. Keenan Allen, I absolutely love, and it's hard to not take him here, but Garrett Wilson's just got Zach and inconsistency and front side.
Moose Elephant says, "What's up, guys? Half PPR flex pick one: Kamara, Devonta Smith, or Higgins." Bryce, which one are you going with?
Kamara, easily. Sully.
Exactly, and the easily applies as well. Car checks down like crazy.
Yep, I'm with you guys. I'm on Kamara there as well. I'm going to do this one, then I'm going to hit the restroom. Marquise Brown or DeMercado, 0.5 PPR flex option. I'm pretty sure we're all going to go with Marquise Brown here, right?
I am.
Rather easily. Easier than last one.
All right, boom. You're in charge there. Sorry to ruin your game watching, Bryce.
I'm ahead
Okay,
on questions.
That's okay. I'll keep you up to date. I'm not even watching. I'm just following along on an app. But anyway,
I just peek over. Deonta Foreman or Ramondre this week?
Ugh, I don't like either one. You go ahead and answer. I'm gonna look at my rank. I'm sure I have Ramondre ranked higher, so that's my answer.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Ramondre as well. I expect his usage to be back to like closer to where it was the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, I have Ramondre ranked 22nd this week. I don't think I've had him that low ever. So that's where I'm at.
Good morning. Choose 3. Mini Jordan asks. Kamara, James Cook, Mixon, and Kyron. So which of these 4 are you sitting?
It's between Cook and Mixon for me, believe it or not. And I think I'll sit James Cook.
I think I'm also going to. Man, the matchup is so nice, though. But the problem is James Cook. The one thing that all these other 3 guys have that James Cook doesn't is they get looks inside the 10-yard line. James Cook gets out-touched by Latavius Murray inside the 10. With that being said, I will also sit James Cook.
I just worry about Mixon. He's doing nothing. He's getting volume, but he's doing absolutely nothing with it.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I feel like it was like that last year at some points, and then he had that big, 3-touchdown day.
Yeah.
So he could be, he could put that up. With that volume, you could put up multiple touchdowns any given week, and it's like you just don't want him on your bench when that happens.
Yep.
Ronald Mikos asked, Foreman or Curtis Samuel in the flex? He needs massive upside.
Cool. Well, the upside play is Samuel, and I think the floor play is Samuel. So it's Curtis Samuel for me.
Yeah, if you're going with upside, I'm definitely going to go Curtis Samuel. Foreman really doesn't catch the ball a ton, or he's not known for it in his career. But he can, like any or any running back can, but he's not going to get like a true back out of the backfield type of volume when it comes to the pass game. With that being said, I will go Curtis Samuel when it comes to upside. I will say I think I prefer Foreman as a floor. Should I trade JT and Josh Jacobs for Eckler and Rachaad White? My other running back is Pollard. So what rest of the season, are you doing Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor? Or are you rocking with Austin Eckler and Rachaad White?
I'm going to take the JT Jacobs side, and it's just basically because I'm not high on White. I love Eckler. Like if this was a who do I drop scenario, I'm dropping White in a heartbeat. So I'll take JT and Jacobs. I think both of them are just the top guys compared to White. So Eckler will keep it close, but those two over those other two, I'd easily do it.
Yeah, Eckler's been banged up this season. He is the best, I think, in a redraft format moving forward. But when it comes to the combination of the two, who would I want rest of the season? It's easily Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor. Josh Jacobs has been picking it up recently. Jonathan Taylor's going to. So definitely sticking with JT and Josh Jacobs. But I don't think it's like super lopsided either way.
I just don't like White.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan either. I don't dislike White. I dislike the situation. It's just not a very good offense for the running back.
That's fair.
Atlanta or the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. These two teams play each other, correct?
Jags play Indy. Atlanta plays Washington. Oof. I have Jacksonville ranked as my 9th defense and Atlanta at my 12th, but I know about as much about ranking defenses as I do about kickers. I just put things in that I think make sense. So,
yeah. I look up the opportunity for sacks more than anything when I'm looking at defensive rankings. And I think that the Jags defense has the better pass rush, really just the better pass rusher when it comes to Josh Allen. So I'll go with the Jags defense.
That's a really good way of looking at it too, because Gardner's going to be more susceptible to taking a sack. Howell can get up and go and get out of there, right?
Right.
So Howell will extend plays with his legs and probably take less sacks. So I like that.
I do think Howell will throw more. Would be more likely to throw more picks.
I think they're both.
We see more sacks in games than picks.
We do
typically.
Yeah.
Julie says, "Thanks again, fellas. Definitely an 18 family league town all over. That makes sense."
Nice.
Minnie Jordan asks, "Full PPR. Need one wide receiver to pick up and start. Josh Reynolds, DJ Chark, Adam Lazard, Kendrick Bourne, Shaheed, Devontae Parker, or JSN. So out of these options, who do you feel more comfortable starting this week?"
Probably Josh Reynolds. You guys were all over Josh Reynolds last week, and I was poo-pooing it, and I was dead wrong. So Goff looks solid in that offense, and that offense just keeps moving the football, and he looks for Josh Reynolds. I know Amon-Ra is going to play this week, and he didn't last week, but Josh Reynolds has been viable in that offense all season long. So I'll eat a little crow on Reynolds and go with him here. I think if I was going to go somewhere else, it might be Kendrick Bourne out of this list. But Reynolds is my guy.
Yeah, it would have been Kendrick Bourne after weeks 1 and 2, but I don't want any Patriot offensive player. I don't feel comfortable starting any of them at this point. It's Josh Reynolds for me as well. He's just active and used in that offense plenty. So out of these guys, I'm more confident with his usage than the rest of them. Rick, who do you?
I'll agree. Josh Reynolds.
All right. Dino Butt 1988 asks,
nice name. I love it.
Thielen, DK, or Mike Evans? Who you got this week, Sully?
I feel like I should sue for him using my
last name.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at matchups here. Rick, you go ahead. I'm taking a look at who people play.
This is easy for me.
I think it's Mike Evans for me.
It's Adam Thielen for me. He's just getting he's getting absolutely peppered and used a ton. I think he's been really good every week except one. So yeah, Adam Thielen at this point for me is a must start every week.
It's Thielen for me as well for similar reasons. Any one of these guys could have a big week, but Thielen just gets 11 targets a week right now because he's the only guy who can get open and he can only throw the ball 5 yards. So.
Yeah, I'm Mike Evans, but they're all close. They're all very close to me. So, okay, Fields or Stroud for Josh here.
This is easily Fields for me.
Same.
Yeah, I Fields at like 5 this week, and Stroud's not even in my top 15. I don't think.
Just out of curiosity, in a dynasty
15.
format, Superflex, which quarterback would you want moving forward?
Dynasty?
Yeah,
I want Fields in every format possible. I think
I was just asking.
even if Chicago bottoms out this year and lands and grabs Caleb Wilson with their first pick and trade Fields, like imagine Fields in Atlanta or somewhere, or Washington or somewhere where they could use a quarterback upgrade. He's a hell of a lot better passer than people ever give him credit for, and you can't deny what he can do with his legs. So I think Fields is solid in this league for a while.
Caleb Williams looked terrible yesterday.
He did.
Terrible.
Yeah.
He's worried that he might end up in the playing for the Vikings, so he decided to play like shit.
He's
And Michael Penix Jr. looked really good. But this draft class is just freaking stacked. It's gonna be a fun year.
Should be.
It does. What this does is, if Fields continues to play well, like he has the past couple weeks, if he continues that for the majority of the rest of the season, what that does is, if Caleb's looked bad 2 weeks in a row, really. I mean, he had some turnovers the week before when they lost, or when they barely won in that game. Chicago's going to have a decision of they trade the number one if they end up with Carolina ends up number one.
Are you talking about Colorado?
That was what I was just about to ask you. Is what does Chicago do? What does Chicago do if they end up with the first pick again? They have to take Williams, don't they?
I think it depends how he looks and how Fields looks the rest of the year. I mean, if Fields looks that good, you're still taking a question mark, no matter how good of a prospect it is, and you can get a haul if that's what people are. If you think what they got for Bryce Young last year, they should be able to get more for Caleb Williams, right? So that could be a big situation for them if they can get. Like one of them was trade to the Patriots I seen, where they get Judon and, the number one and future number one. If a trade like that comes where you get that defensive end that you're really looking for that can put pressure on, then it may be something that they have to consider doing. It's gonna be very interesting, and I kind of hope the Panthers end up winning a couple games here and getting out of that spot. So my Bears just keep Fields and
well, I would not be against adding the Patriots number one pick in any way, shape, or form, because that's going to be juicy as well.
Yeah.
Steven says start Cousins or Herbert, and then Kmet or Laporta. So which two are you going with there, Bryce?
I'm going to go with Herbert and Laporta. Sully.
Same
for me as well. And he says that is PPR. Doesn't change anything for us. Nope. Matt needs to know Puka or Ridley, Fields or Tua, Laporta or Goddard. So,
yep.
No, just go ahead, Sully, with the three you're going to take.
Puka, Fields, Laporta.
Puka, Fields, Laporta for me as well.
I'm actually going to be just a little bit different, and I'm going to go with Puka, Fields, and Goddard here. I
don't hate that at all.
We talked last week. Goddard had been getting action, just hadn't found the end zone. Last week changed all that. Yeah, I'll take that Eagles offense and just be a little bit different. Dino Butt says, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, QT Skies. Start McLaurin or Higgins if Higgins plays. Bryce.
Yeah, if Higgins plays and is not limited, I'm putting him in. So you just got to keep an eye out on the reports for Higgins. Sully.
Yeah, I'm going to go with McLaurin here. Even if Higgins plays, he's almost certainly playing through a pain threshold, and one hit could put him out. So I'm going to go with Terry.
Derrick Henry with like a 65-yard run, not a touchdown.
Good, because he had 30 yards before that.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
I'm going to go with McLaurin as well here with Higgins banged up. And I've said a few times already over the first couple hours of this that I think McLaurin has a big week. So I'm going McLaurin here.
Jamar Chase is always open too, if you guys didn't know.
Always in open.
Effing open. Love that guy.
Me too.
Probably my worst fantasy call of.
I saw like after that. I saw like after that interview, there were people like, oh, "We just don't need a diva like that." I'm like, shut up.
Everybody.
Don't know anything.
Think of the other than Jerry Rice, the best wide receivers in the history of football are all divas. They're all crazy. They all want the effing ball, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chad Ochocinco used to call the coaches at like 2 a.m. and tell them he was open.
That's awesome. Randy Moss was the biggest D-bag in the NFL for about a 5-year stretch. He was also the best wide receiver I've ever seen.
Have you ever listened to the interview with Edelman when he talked about what it was like playing with Randy his rookie year? You need to listen to it. He's like, he used to call me Edelnut.
Edelnut.
Edelnut, get my hot tub to 102 and get me a Gatorade.
Right?
And then he said like he was on the phone with his mom and Edelman said, hey, tell Mama Moss I said, Merry Christmas. And Randy looked at him and said, Edelnut, don't you fucking talk to me when I'm on the phone with my fucking mama.
Love it.
Yeah, it had to be pretty funny. He's like, I was just a rookie, so I did what he said. Like, oh.
Really, out of all the great ones, Calvin Johnson would be the only other one that wasn't really a diva, right?
That's true.
You could kind of make the argument since he retired early that he was. That he didn't want to be in Detroit anymore.
He just hated his organization so much, right?
Josh needs to know in an 8-man league, start one, Puka, Waddle, or Zach Moss. Sully.
Puka for me. Puka, Waddle, Moss.
Yep, same order for me as well.
Same. And then Victor Sosa needs to know, start 3. We got Kenneth Walker, Metcalf, Nico, Olave. We're going to sit one of these. Which one is it going to be? I know Kenneth's a must start for me, so
Is it coming down to Collins and Metcalf for you guys?
It is, and I think I might sit DK here. Hang on. I don't know. This is crazy.
Who did the Seahawks play today?
They play shoot, I can't remember. Sorry.
My sit here is actually Olave, according to my rankings.
Yeah, it's DK. Seattle plays Cincinnati in Cincinnati. I'm sitting DK.
I think I'm going to sit DK Metcalf as well. I don't hate that matchup. I mean, I think all these guys got pretty good matchups, but yeah, I'm going to sit.
The Bengals are sneaky okay in their secondary, even though they got beat up a little bit early. But
yeah, I have them ranked Metcalf, Nico, Olave, and they are ranked 28th, 33rd, and 36th overall, which makes them like literally back to back to back.
Yep.
Basically in my wide receiver rankings here. So, K9 was number 9 overall in my ranking. So he's the easy pick here to start. So Olave is my sit. Asher Wolfenshawn says Tua, Mostert, Josh Jacobs, CeeDee Lamb, Ridley, Chris Godwin, Goddard, Jordan Addison. How do you guys think my team will do today? PPR format, 3 wide receiver league. I do have Higgins on the bench as well. Tua, Mostert, Jacobs, CeeDee, Ridley, Chris Godwin, Goddard, Addison. I think I'm starting all those receivers over Higgins.
Yep. Just based on his current situation, for sure.
Yep. So
I could debate on putting him over Godwin, but I don't hate keeping him out if you're worried about injury or him being.
Higgins is so boom bust this year, and I know Burrow hasn't been 100%, but like he's either scoring and getting 12 targets or getting 2 catches for 4 yards. And the last game he played, he looked like he'd rather be anywhere else other than on the field. So I'm worried about Higgins personally, but especially this week with banged up ribs, he's the sit.
This is a solid lineup for this week, though. This is
100%.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
very, very good lineup for this week. I mean, I like Mostert a lot, especially with Jeff Wilson not back and Achane out. And as long as Mostert's healthy, he's going to put up fantasy points in that offense, man. That offense is so good.
It's crazy, hey?
We're talking about all this love for the running backs. Mostert and Achane have been great throughout the season. And then you realize Tua is on pace to break the passing record. They're just putting up so many freaking yards in every way possible.
And I think, what did I see? Either more points or more yards than the greatest show on turf. Like, they broke that record through 5 games or whatever. So the space that they create on the field for their players and the speed that those players have, it's a video game. It's unreal.
Mike McDaniels is the best. They asked him after they got Chase Claypool what he thought, and he said, "He's fast. That's cool."
Do you think he becomes a tight end in Miami?
No, I don't think so. Again, I've always thought Chase Claypool, it's all between the ears, right? Like, the talent's there. We saw it his rookie year. Like, you don't do what he did in his rookie year without talent. Is he going to apply himself? Because Pittsburgh wasn't just forcing him the ball.
No, he was scoring rushing touchdowns though in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but I mean, he was doing 900 receiving yards his first 2 years. Mm-hmm. And that was as not even the wide receiver 1 on those teams, right? Deontay Johnson was the wide receiver 1 those 2 years. He's got the talent. It's funny. I've seen the memes of Mike McDaniels draws up a magic play for Chase Claypool, and then Chase Claypool says, "I don't want to run." It just depends on if they get a Claypool that is actually trying to play football, and if they do, I think he could thrive in that offense as the number 3 offense, or as a number 3 wide receiver.
I just think he would be such a good tight end if they could convert him with his size and stuff.
We saw Chosen, right? He ran like one route and it was a 60-yard touchdown
from Mike White.
Yeah, I mean, Chase Claypool has a chance to actually be fantasy relevant down the stretch if he applies himself, because Mike McDaniels is going to put him in a position to succeed, and it's all going to be on Chase Claypool. So it just depends on what attitude he's got in Miami. Mike McDaniels is just a genius. I cannot believe that Denver or Chicago, neither of them would interview him when they were looking for head coaches that year. Little bit ridiculous. Denver is probably really wishing they would have, since that's where he wanted to be his entire life.
Ooh, Eddie Jackson's back for you today.
We got everybody back in the secondary, baby. I like it.
Good. Need to lose this one.
Big Boz says, you suggested trading Lamb. What running back would you go after, and what running back would I realistically have a chance of landing? It's no secret Lamb is great, but Dak is not giving him a lot of looks. So what running backs do you think you could take a look at here with CD Lamb being your trade piece?
I'd probably look at like the top 5 to 6 running backs based on your preference. And then I would look at the rosters of those fantasy managers that have those guys and see who needs the wide receiver help the most. I'd probably start my search at Breece Hall and Tony Pollard, Breece Hall, someone along that ilk. It's going to be tough to do a straight up 1-for-1 receiver for running back trade based on the landscape of the running back position currently 6 weeks into the season. But that said, that's the guy I want. I want Breece Hall. I want Tony Pollard, maybe Austin Eckler if that manager started 1 and whatever because of his injury, something like that.
Right.
Yeah, I think you could start near the top, excluding Christian McCaffrey. You're not going to get that guy to budge more than likely. Breece Hall and JT are the first 2 that come to mind for me. I think you can buy JT kind of lower than what I think Breece Hall and JT's price are just going to, go up from here on out. Hopefully it's not a little bit too late on Breece Hall since he did just come off a pretty dominant performance. If that's the case, I would pivot over to Jonathan Taylor. Those are definitely the first 2 I'd be looking at.
Yeah, I think you're going to be, I could see any of those names. I don't know that Breece Hall owner is going to go for it at this point.
I agree.
With Lamb getting what he's getting right now. I think Montgomery's more valuable the rest of the year, but you may be able to just off a name value be able to get Montgomery for Lamb.
That's a good call.
And then DeAndre Swift would be another one that I would guess would probably be in that range in redraft, where you may be able to get something done that way if they've got because Swift is probably a guy that was drafted as a running back 3 or 4. So that team may have some running backs ahead of Swift that allows them to make that trade. So those are some guys that I would be looking at there.
How do you feel about Kenneth Walker?
I mean, Bryce and I talked a little bit early. I think Zach Charbonnet continues to get more work, and we're past that bye week. But I still think Kenneth Walker gets enough work that he's going to be valuable down the stretch. But I would take him over CeeDee Lamb if the Walker manager is a little bit worried about that going forward. But I don't think you're going to get that one done at this point. Maybe after this week, if we see Zach Charbonnet get 12 touches, then it may put some worry into the Kenneth Walker manager that could help you get the deal done. Is that what you were kind of alluding to?
I'm just wondering if honestly, I'm wondering if Walker's enough for Lamb because I have thoughts of Charbonnet doing a little bit more in that offense as well.
He looks good every time he gets the ball.
Yeah, he just doesn't get it enough.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree with that as well. Should I start Nico Collins or Deebo Samuel non-PPR?
Deebo for me. Tough, but I think Deebo might be involved in some runs this week. So
yeah, the non-PPR makes me want to pivot over to Deebo as well.
Agree.
Yep, if it was PPR, I would be on Nico. I have him in my PPR rankings. I have him ranked 33rd overall and Deebo like 50 overall. So I would be on Nico in PPR, but in non-PPR, that really hurts Nico because he gets so many targets. And I'll go with Deebo here as well in non-PPR. Mr. Scamper says T. Higgins officially active, not starting him though. We've also agreed that if you have options, that T. Higgins is a sit for us as well. Could be re-injured.
One smart cat.
But yes, Mr. Scampers is very, very smart cat. And good morning to you as well.
Derrick
Angel needs to know Garrett Wilson or Chris Godwin. What did you say, Bryce?
Derrick Henry touchdown.
Thank you, fantasy
salvaged. Salvaged week. Well, he's actually got a pretty good stat line now because of that big run.
Ugly, hey, but effective.
Yeah. This is Chris Godwin for me.
I think this is Garrett Wilson for me.
Chris Godwin for me as well.
I get it, but it's still Garrett Wilson for me.
Josh, do I play Saquon, Breda, or just go ahead and play Rashad White or Foreman? Which one you going with there, Sully?
I might start Foreman here. Because if Saquon doesn't go, Breda's garbage. I'm not interested in Rashad White this week, and Foreman based on volume, based on the landscape of the Bears' backfield. He's no Alexander Madison, but I'll give him a go this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on board with putting in Deontay Foreman here as well.
Yeah, I'm going Foreman, and just remind everybody, like 5 of his last 6 starts or something went over 100 yards. So,
how many of those were Chicago?
Chicago runs the ball better than Carolina does, so that's a check mark for Foreman on the positive side, right?
Okay. Just asking because I can't remember the last time he did anything for the Bears.
Well, yeah, he's got 2 good running backs ahead of him.
Right, he's a 3rd string running back on his own frickin' team. Like, temper our expectations a little.
I don't think it's all created equal. It's not like it's, Ty Chandler, 3rd string running back, or
fair
Kene Nwanu, especially with the other 2 out. But Foreman has produced when given the opportunity. With Higgins officially active, would you start him or pivot to Lockett? So Higgins or Lockett for Jacob here. Sully, which one are you going with?
if I'm projected to win this week, I'm going to start Lockett. If I'm projected to not win this week, I'm going to start Higgins, because I think Higgins, even in his situation, gives you a chance of a bigger boom for points. So, and they're relatively close for me. So if I need upside, it's Higgins. If I want safe and floor, I go Lockett. Bryce?
I think I'm just going to stick with Lockett here. Yeah, I'm going to go stick with Lockett.
That's where I'm at as well.
No argument.
And then Tyler says, start Burrow or Goff and Gabe, Davis, or Mixon. So Burrow, Goff, which one you going with, Bryce?
Burrow for me.
Same.
I actually have to look. I'm guessing it's Burrow. I guess I have Burrow ahead, but I think Goff and Burrow are going to be really close for me. Let's see, Burrow I have as 11, Goff I have as 9. So I'm on the Goff side here. And then it's going to be Mixon pretty easily for me out of the other two.
Mixon for me as well.
It's Mixon for me. I think we're almost caught up. So let's circle back to Mixon after the next one. I just want to chat with Rick about that.
How bad of a start is Dameon Pierce? I have absolutely nobody else. I think he's fine. He's getting
totally
work.
fine.
He just hasn't found the end zone. So I think Caden, I think you're fine with Dameon Pierce here.
Top 20 back for me this week.
Yeah, I would say
2 spots behind. Oh, 1 spot ahead of Alexander Madison. So I must really like Dameon Pierce.
Keeps going back to Madison. Let's see. I don't even remember what I was doing. Pierce. Let's see. We have Pierce. I have him as 44th overall. He is our 21st running back. I have him a little bit higher than Sully does. Yeah, I think he's fine. I think he's got running back 1 upside. He just needs to find the end zone. Hasn't done it much.
Completely agree.
Mr. Scamper says, I'm starting Addison in Chicago. Would you also start Osborne over either Debo at Cleveland or Garrett Wilson at Philadelphia? So where are you at with Osborne versus Debo and Garrett Wilson, Sully?
Well, I'm actually Osborne over Addison. So I'm trying to figure out, and I think you guys are as well. So I'm trying to figure out where I'm with Debo or Wilson. Wilson's a little scary. Debo's got a tough matchup. I just don't want to start both Vikings over these guys. Yeah, actually, I will. I think if Minnesota has any hope in hell at all today, it's through the air. So I think both these guys could see 6 to 10 targets each, and I don't know what Debo does, and Garrett Wilson has Zach Wilson. So I think I would start Osborne over those 2 guys. I don't like it, but I think I would.
I'm not Osborne over Addison. It just wouldn't surprise me if he scored more. They're close, but I think I'm sitting Debo out of all these options as well.
I'm sitting.
Hasn't been great.
I'm sitting Osborne out of all of these guys,
Okay.
but again, this is all toss up here. I'm starting Addison first because I figure he gets the most targets, but he also may see the most of Jalen Johnson, which is a big difference from seeing Tyreek Stevenson on the other side, because Stevenson's been pretty solid, but he will give up the short yardage stuff.
I think by all accounts, we're going to slide Addison into the Jefferson role. Osborne was starting over Addison all season anyway, so he'll stay in his same spot. We'll see what Addison can do in that role. Is obviously not Justin Jefferson, so it's probably a big TJ Hawkinson week, in all honesty.
I like TJ Hawkinson a lot this week,
and Alexander Madison.
It's gonna.
I don't mind Alexander Madison. I just don't like him.
I wouldn't be surprised if he catches 8 passes today.
It's going to be interesting to see how this Bears defense is now. This is the first time they've had their entire secondary healthy with both safeties, because what they were supposed to be able to do is really cover tight ends too in this defense. That's why they went out and got coverage linebackers like Edmonds and Edwards. But it's been pretty shaky with everybody hurt in the secondary. So it'll be interesting versus the tight end how Chicago defends with everybody healthy now because they have all their starting secondary healthy for the first time all year. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Weather stinks, eh?
Yeah, apparently there's some wind going on.
19 miles an hour. Is that a lot?
Not really. Not for
really.
Chicago.
And rain. 54 degrees.
That sucks.
Both those shitty teams don't deserve a nice sunny day anyway, so that's totally fine.
Caden says, my wide receivers are Lamb, AJB, Flowers, and Pittman. Running backs are James Cook and Pierce. I tried the whole RB0 thing. Yeah, I think you're fine with Pierce and James Cook.
Yep.
Your wide receivers are really good. Obviously, Flowers has already done some work for you, so that's good. I think you're in a good spot there with Pierce. You're fine. Josh says, thanks for the help, guys.
Always.
Thank you for coming by and watching. Last question, Pitts or Logan Thomas? Which one you going with, Sully?
Logan Thomas.
He's so mad. He's so
mad. I'm not mad. I'm sad. It's sad, not mad.
I don't know. I feel like there's a little anger in there, too.
No, there's a lot of anger in there, but not because of this.
It's Thomas for me as well.
Thomas for me as well. All murky situations. Weather. Zach Wilson, I know. Thanks, guys.
Which one do you fear more, the weather or Zach Wilson?
Zach Wilson's
got to be Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
100%. He's a storm all by himself.
Chase Wilson wants to know Cole Kmet or Darren Waller. Which one are you going with, Bryce?
I'm going to go with Cole Kmet. Darren Waller looked good last week, and they got him involved. But I got to stick with what I've said all day, and that's that I want as many parts of this Minnesota game and Chicago game that I can get. So go ahead and give me Cole Kmet. Darren Waller touchdown upside today looks crappy. I wouldn't be surprised if this game that the Giants are having to sit their starters the second half because it's so ugly.
Sully.
I like Cole Kmet a lot against a very soft Minnesota Vikings pass defense. Darren Waller's a little banged up. He's been wildly inconsistent, and he has Tyrod Taylor as his quarterback this week, I think.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Where Daniel Jones would look for Waller, Tyrod might look to take off and run. So I think it's Cole Kmet by a bit of a wide margin for me this week.
Darren, my rankings are way different than yours, and maybe it's me trying to balance my Chicago Bears bias, and I'm way too low on Cole Kmet, or I don't know. You guys are, talking me into it, but I'm Darren Waller right now. Could go either way though.
It's way easier when you hate your own team, because it never factors into the rankings. Typical Vikings fan, we all hate our team, so.
At least your offense is fun to watch. You quit your bitching.
I'm very interested to see what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
Well, says the guy with how many Super Bowl trophies? Piss off. Give me a break.
Yeah, but even though you guys are bad, your team's actually still entertaining. Like when our team, weeks 1 through 3, the Chicago Bears were unbearably bad to watch. It was terrible, and that's where we're at with New England right now. You can't even watch them and be like, hey, that was fun. It's more like they've been outscored by the Boston Red Sox this month.
That's the best stat I've ever heard.
That's terrible.
I love it.
Oh shit! We didn't even answer this for the social worker. Gabe Davis or Josh Palmer?
Davis for me.
It's Gabe Davis for me, but I think Josh Palmer's a sneaky play today. I've got him in a couple of areas where I'm decimated by either bye weeks and or injuries. So, and I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah, I'll take Gabe Davis as well. I feel like the secondary wide receiver options for the Chargers are drastically downgraded with Austin Eckler's return to that offense. A bunch of targets that were going to receiving options, tight ends and wide receivers are now going to be going to running back because Josh Kelly was not the PPR running back monster that Austin Eckler is.
I think Gerald Everett takes the biggest hit with Eckler coming back.
So, Big Boz, we're going to save this one. we've got a couple questions here. We're going to catch up. Sully wanted to hit on Joe Mixon, but then we'll talk about this a little bit here in just a minute when we get these caught up here. So let's be a little quick here. Waddle or Addison this week? 0.5 PPR.
Waddle.
Waddle for me, but it is close.
Good to have you back, Bryce. I was worried about you there last week.
Clapping people says Garrett Wilson, Michael Thomas, Ramondre Stevenson, Brian Robinson in the flex. Which one are you going with there, Sully?
Michael Thomas and his 11 PPR points every week.
Same.
Michael Thomas has got the only one that doesn't have a floor of sub 5 points. Yep, Michael Thomas.
Social Worker says last one, DeMercado or Palmer. I'm going with DeMercado here.
I will
joining
go Palmer here.
I'm with Rick.
Can we do 5 on this one?
Yep.
I will.
Okay.
I'll get Dano.
Gavin says, are we liking AJ Brown against the Jets or Ridley against the Colts? Also, what do we think about JT this week? I think we're all going to be on AJB here against the Jets, right? We know Sauce is out, but AJ Brown would have been it anyway, right?
Regardless of matchup, AJ Brown, yes.
And then JT, we all think JT is the better running back. We just don't know how Indianapolis is going to use them yet. Eventually it will be easily Jonathan Taylor. But right now I think we're all on the same page that it's just a little bit difficult knowing how Indianapolis is going to use these two. Sully? I
know we're trying to move quick, but is it safe to say Indianapolis might be chasing this one a little bit? Because I think that bodes better for JT than it does for Zach Moss, usage-wise.
I would agree.
Yeah. So I think this is a game where he might separate himself a little bit.
This is an important game. I mean, they just came off a division win last week, and this could be, I think, winner of this.
Isn't that whole division tied? Aren't they all 3-2?
So winner of this game is leading the division.
Right.
This might be like, all right, let's use our best talent, and I think they know that's obviously.
And they've played each other already this year, so this is an even bigger game because you want to split, right? Thank you.
Yeah.
Clapping people says thanks. Thank you. And then Social Worker says he's going to go with Gabe Davis and DeMercado. Thank you. # Fire Matt Canada. I think a lot of people agree with that.
Did you guys see the Pittsburgh Penguins game and the crowd's chanting Fire Matt Canada at a hockey game?
Was poor guy.
Excellent.
I feel bad for him to an extent.
He sucks. Go away already.
He's had
He's
zero
still a human.
He's had 400-yard games as the offensive coordinator of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Apparently
my favorite was
garbage.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
He was garbage at NC State too, apparently. So I don't know.
Yeah. My favorite clip was when Kenny Pickett audibled out of his play call and scored a touchdown. He didn't even get excited about it. He was mad.
All right, Sully, you wanted to talk about Mixon a little bit here. What do you got?
I just kind of want your take on Mixon because he's been not good, and he's getting volume for sure, but he's not doing anything with it. And I'm, I can't remember who it was. It was Mixon or someone, and I was almost going to. In the question, it was James Cook and Joe Mixon that I was down to, and I picked Mixon over Cook. But I'm really worried about Joe Mixon. Is just even going back to last season, he's just not good.
It's hard for me with the way that offense was going the first few weeks of the season. I mean, he had been, for the majority of the games, he was very efficient as a runner, right? 4.3, 4.5, 4.8. Had a couple games where they were down against the Rams and Cardinals on his efficiency, but he's been efficient. He's had 4 or more targets in 3 of 5 games. I think as this offense gets going more, that's when Mixon really gets going more in the PPR. I mean, he has 1 touchdown on the year. That's really low for the usage. I think he regresses more towards the mean here, and becomes better as this offense gets better. And if last week was anything, that is happening right before our eyes. So I'd wait to put a lot of judgment on it until we see with that offense improving how that affects his fantasy.
I was just wondering your thoughts.
So Big Boz says, let's ask about the host. So you guys, guys, a little bit about you. Are you playing each other in fantasy? What are your draft picks? How is your record? Any trades on the horizon? The hosts are people too. Yeah, we're all in leagues together. So I run. What do I run? 8, 9 leagues, dynasty leagues, and Bryce is, I know, is in a few of them, and Sully, you're in 2 or 3 of them.
1, 2, 3 of them. Yeah. I'm good in one and terrible in the other 2. Kind of rebuilding in the bonus leagues.
I'm
Bryce is
contending
blowing up his team.
Yeah, I'm contending in one and blowing it up in the one that we're all in together. And then it's like it's when we face each other, it doesn't matter because Rick and I are both blowing our teams up in the Superflex, aren't we? And then in the Grand Prix, in the Grand Prix, Rick is trying to, or Rick is in a rebuild, and I'm an obvious contender. So it's like when we play each other, it's not like really a heated, like we kind of want the same outcome. So
I'm struggling in the Superflex because we have a pretty good team, and I think we're 4-1, but we're probably the worst 4-1 team, if that makes any sense. And we're decimated at quarterback. We lost Rodgers.
Tried.
And we had the perfect opportunity to add Kirk Cousins, and my my lovely co-owner wouldn't give more than a third for Kirk Cousins. So
what?
That's what I said.
I wanted a first. I wouldn't settle for anything less than a late first.
And I would have done that. I would have done the trade you offered me in a heartbeat. And we'd probably win the league if we did, but we'll see.
I do have Lamar Jackson available in that league if
oh man,
the right deal.
Nickel, I might give you a second maybe for him. I don't know. We'll find out.
maybe a second. Yeah, that ain't gonna do it. So you'll have to talk him into getting up a little bit more. But yeah,
give me a call. We'll see. Lamar would definitely be an upgrade for us.
It's been a struggle this year, really. A couple of the leagues where I was trying to rebuild, I have Tyreek Hill on, and his big weeks have led to wins where I don't want wins, and I can't get him traded. And then in a couple leagues that I'm trying to win, Aaron Jones being out has really hurt me. And then so I'm sitting like 2-3 on those, and I'm 3-2 in a league where I want to lose. It's been one of those years where the stuff just hasn't aligned in the way that I want. So, but it's going well. I got a couple leagues where I'm doing pretty well in that could, make me my money back for my rebuilding teams, which is really all I was looking forward to going into this year, was trying to get my money back in one league, have it get me the majority of my money back so that I could rebuild. And I really like next year's draft class. So some of these teams that were getting a little bit older, I wanted to, even though I could have maybe competed this year, I wanted to get out early, get some of this young talent we got coming in next year, and be ahead of the curve a little bit.
Yeah.
Social Worker says it's so awesome. 0 400-yard games in 2+ years. Yeah, dude, I heard that stat last week and I was like, holy hell, they need to fire that guy. But for some reason, they love him. They think he's fire.
Fire Canada, the whole damn country. Just fire it.
Social Worker says, do you guys think Roschon Johnson has any value as the season goes once he's healthy? Listen, Roschon's the guy once he gets back, hopefully next week. He will get the majority of the run once he's back. Bryce?
Yeah, I agree. I think we've been on somewhat of the same page. Big Roschon Johnson fan. And the way that they utilize the running back in that offense with teams having to worry about Justin Fields as a runner just really makes it easier for that running back. And I think he's the most talented. And now he's going to get that opportunity with Khalil Herbert out.
Yeah, Roschon Johnson is the best running back on that roster. He's also that organization's guy, which helps. And I've said this before, if Roschon played anywhere other than behind Bijan Robinson in college, he'd be one of the top guys in this class. He's a legit good, solid running back, good in pass protection, which the Bears need as well. Catches the ball, breaks tackles, big, strong, fast. I love him. And I think he's, especially in Dynasty, get as much Roschon as you can possibly get.
Agreed. Bryce, I don't know if you've seen, but I've been working on the Roschon Johnson.
Oh, I did. I saw
those. Those are hot.
I was looking at him.
101 here. I am very, very high.
Trying to hedge the Fields investments or what?
Well, I mean, rookie cards are what I'm always really collecting. And since,
Smart.
Fields is a couple years removed and I do have tons of Justin Fields, I always wanted Roshan. And in the Bears groups that I'm in, everybody wanted them to take Bijan at number 9. And I'm like, no, just wait for Roshan in the 3rd or 4th round, because Bijan is clearly better, but I would rather use 3rd, 4th round draft capital on a running back that I feel is a 2nd rounder. Like I do agree with you. If he would have played for anybody else and not behind Bijan, he would have been a 2nd round pick probably.
Well, Tannehill just went to the room.
Malik
So
Willis
which one's-
season. Let's go.
Is it Willis? I figured it was
Yeah.
Willis.
Till next
Ryan
week.
wants to know Terry, Ramondre, or Palmer. It's not going to be Will Levis.
It might be. Have you seen Malik Willis play quarterback?
Have you ever seen Will Levis? Can't even take
I
snaps.
have not,
That was the
actually.
Will Levis couldn't even get the snap right in
Yeah.
preseason. So that's
Nah.
a very, very important part of playing NFL.
Minor details.
Minor details. Terry, Ramondre, or Palmer? Bryce.
All right, this will be my last question. I got to get going on baby duty. But I will go with Scary Terry and out of these 3. Scary Terry, Ramondre, then Palmer. So,
I agree.
Same.
all righty.
Same
I'll
for
see
me.
you guys.
Yeah,
luck
we'll
this
probably
week,
be
brother.
done here in just a few
Yeah.
as well.
All righty. Hey, good luck this week, guys, since you don't
Cheers.
play me.
Good luck.
See ya.
Dan Kelly wants to know, in a standard league, are you going DK or Mike Evans?
I'm going Mike Evans here.
Mike Evans for me as well. Social worker says, I need Terry to do something finally. I think this is the breakout week. I'm calling it. Come back and yell at me next week when it's not.
I don't know if it is, but I agree on him needing to do something. I think Atlanta's secondary is overrated, so I think you could see him pop this week, hopefully.
I'm actually looking because waivers just ran in one of my leagues, and I need to know if I got what I was looking for. Oh, what the heck? Took a shot on Christopher Brooks in a league, hoping to get him.
Yeah, I had him in a few as well. So I don't dislike that at all.
Jesse Torres says Komet or Ertz. Which one are you going with here?
Komet. It's my 8th ranked tight end this week.
It is Komet for me as well.
Your thoughts on Malik Cunningham? He's getting picked up in a lot of my leagues all over the place.
I mean, Custer and
Why
I were
not,
just
right?
talking the other day. Like, I don't know why they don't start him and just see if he can spark something with being able to get around. And Josh Custer acquired Malik Cunningham for $200 fab dollars. Just came across my phone.
What a dick.
That's funny.
You see the trade I made with Custer this week?
I think I missed it, but let me.
Evans and Amari for his 1st, 2nd, and Rondell Moore. Just trying to blow that team up and get some picks and rebuild it.
Transactions. Wait, what is this? This is way old. I must be in the wrong year. Good or bad trade? Give Kittle, receive Zach Moss, Darren Waller. I like it. I can't hear you if you're talking, Sully. Can you hear me? We have technical difficulties. While Sully's figuring that out, I like this trade because I like Darren Waller over Kittle rest of season. So I think you're getting the better tight end, and Zach Moss is at minimum going to be one of the top handcuffs in the league, right? Like what he's done for Indianapolis, even when he loses the majority of his work, he is going to be valuable. So I like this trade for you. I think you get the best tight end and a bonus running back.
I agree. Can you hear me?
Yep, now we can hear it. I got Chris Brooks for $0. That makes me happy.
I got him for cheap, and I also got him for a lot. I added him earlier in the week. I figured, why not?
Yeah, I didn't. I went through all my leagues to look for him. He was only available in one league, and I had $0 fab dollars left. So, yeah, that could be fun rest of the season. Jordan Addison or Tyler Lockett this week?
I've got Addison here.
Everybody knows I like Tyler Lockett.
I do too.
Let's see here. Lockett. I have 50. I'm going Lockett here. Concerned since I have Herbert and Dallas D starting together. Drop Osborne or Javonte for defense? No. Absolutely not.
Nope.
Absolutely not.
The other thing too is, I know your record is your record, but if you lose a week, it's not the end of the world. Like, I think the Herbert Dallas D isn't really that bad because I think he probably turns the ball over, gets sacked a little bit, and Herbert puts up some points. I think he'd be okay.
Yeah, you do not want to drop Osborne or Javonte. Take whatever it is this week, and then next week it'll be different, right? Definitely not dropping one of those guys.
Nope.
But man, if Aaron Jones could come back, that would be great.
Yes, it would.
Defense question. If you can, stick with Houston or pick up New England or Minnesota?
I want Houston.
Houston.
New England's decimated by injury and Minnesota stinks. So, like the Bears easily could put up 40 points today and it wouldn't surprise me. And Houston's secondary is solid and their pass rush is solid. And I think they're a legit D. So, and they got a really strong head coach who's defensive minded. So I want Houston here.
I'm with you. All right. Griff says Saquon or Hall at flex. CMC and Monty are my running backs 1 and 2. We're going Breece Hall here, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. I would say CMC and Hall would be my 1-2 and Monty would be my flex, but that's just being picky. But yeah, Saquon sits here. What a world we live in.
Yeah, you might as well. Well, I mean, if Saquon was fully healthy and we knew and he was getting all the work, then that changes things. But with the situation, the high ankle sprain has been sitting out, may sit out again. Who knows? It's pretty easily CMC, Monty, and a Hall. And then you're going to be in a good spot for the rest of the season. The hardest part of this is figuring out which 3 you're going to start on a weekly basis once they're all healthy and going well. So yeah, you got
I might look to trade Montgomery here if I could, because I think he's the healthiest. You're not going to trade CMC, but of the other 3, he's the healthiest and he's probably in the best spot right now. And if Saquon comes back healthy with Breece Hall doing what he's doing in CMC, he'll be just fine.
And then Social Worker wants to know, is Jaylen Warren more valuable than Najee at this point?
Not yet, but he's not far off.
Again, fire Matt Canada.
Yep.
We saw 2 weeks ago the Najee that people thought we were going to see all along, right? Against Houston, 14 for 71. Looked good. Last week, 14 for 37. The targets just, it blows my mind how much this guy was used in the passing game and how good he was his rookie year and how he's basically non-existent in the passing game now. It's just crazy.
That's where Jaylen Warren is probably the value add, right? Like there's situations where Jaylen Warren comes in and he rips off a 10 or a 12-yard run and everybody's like, damn, like he's so much better than Najee Harris and he's so much more this and that. And, honestly, take a look at the defense when Najee's in the game versus when Jaylen Warren's in the game, because I'm guaranteeing you there's less men in the box when Warren's in the backfield versus when Harris is in the backfield. So it's not apples to apples. And yeah, Jaylen Warren looks good. But Najee Harris is a lot better than his numbers are dictating. So I'm not quite ready to put Warren over him. But just because I think he's better, he's got to produce, and he hasn't been. So if he doesn't soon, then Warren probably does jump him, but not yet for me.
Yeah, I mean, neither of these guys are efficient as runners, right? They're both under 4 yards per carry. Warren's at 3.6, which is horrific. And Najee's at 3.9, which isn't great. I think 4.1, 4.2 is basically where the average typically falls in for the league. So neither of them are doing very well running, but Warren gets 5 to 6 targets a week compared to the 1.5 on average that Najee gets. So neither of them are getting rushing yards. One of them is
Najee
getting
scoring.
receptions.
How many touchdowns does Najee have?
Najee, let's see. So Warren has no receiving or rushing. Najee has no rushing. None. Neither of them. Neither of them have a touchdown.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That's only a quarter of the way through the season, or third of the way through the season. That's
I mean, we're talking
terrible.
about, okay, so 63 and 5. So 68 touches for Najee and 55 for Warren. So we're talking 68, 55, 123. So 123 touches with no touchdowns for the running backs in Pittsburgh. That's crazy.
That's mind-boggling.
Yeah. Who would you start at flex, Saquon or Brandon Ayuk? Brandon Ayuk for me.
Absolutely.
Social Worker says, Canada is screwing us. Y'all have a good weekend. Thank you for taking questions. No problem at all.
So Mike Tomlin's job's pretty safe in Pittsburgh. If he refuses to fire Matt Canada, does his job become less safe?
I think the longer he sticks with Canada, the more at risk he puts himself. I do.
Because he needs to do that, and for some reason he just won't. I don't know what it is.
Big Boss says, here till the fat lady sings. Just want to say thanks, guys. I really appreciate the advice and chat. This is definitely my new Sunday routine, and I'm going to tell as many people as possible about you. We really appreciate it. That helps us the most. That's the biggest compliment. If you share us with others, we really appreciate it. So thank you, Big Boz. Mike Smith says Logan Thomas or Dalton Schultz. I like Dalton Schultz a lot this week with the wide receiver Tank Dell out. Was hoping Robert Woods would be out a little bit more, but I'm still going Logan Thomas here.
So am I, and I agree with you. I like Dalton Schultz this week as well. It's funny, Bryce was on Dalton Schultz 2 weeks ago, and we both kind of laughed at him. And Dalton Schultz scored twice and has been relevant ever since. So hat tip to Bryce while he's hanging out with his daughter there.
All right. That is going to be the last question for today. Obviously, we will be back next Sunday on the Boomer Bust Show. And, hopefully this week we will have Tuesday and Saturday again. Lots of people out this week, so those didn't happen. Hopefully next week we will have those going as well. So we wish everybody good luck today. Have fun, win your fantasy matchups, and we will see you next week.
Good luck, everyone.